Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back to another ArchCast, where we are going to discuss the host of Fear Factor and the host of The Apprentice talking about politics. Because that's what the world is now. Which is an interesting evolution. I gotta say, more and more, I just want to invent a time machine so that we can go back to, 1990 and start telling people what the future is like. Even as everyone back in the past is like, you've got flying cars and shit, right? And space travel. Nope, but Donald Trump is president. Like, what?
I mean, it kind of felt inevitable in a very idiocracy kind of way that a celebrity would eventually become president.
I mean, it's already happened. Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that has already been the thing. Like, Arnold Schwarzenegger would have been president by now if it weren't for the fact that he's Austrian.
Yeah, but I mean, Ronald Reagan was a smarter man than Donald Trump was, I think.
What do I know about Ronald Reagan? I know that there's a porn actress with his last name. That's about it.
Really?
Yep. I mean, listen, the only presidents I'm really interested in is Teddy Roosevelt, because he was awesome, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, because he was terrible, and Abraham Lincoln, because he too was terrible. That's about it.
Here, let me just tweet out that I'm here. Give me a second.
What does chat think about Ronald Reagan? Does chat like Ronald Reagan? Was Ronald Reagan a good dude? Is he a bad dude? Oh, and that guy that got shot, something or other. That guy, who the FBI assassinated or something. That was another president that was a president, I think.
To be fair, Ronald Reagan also got shot. And didn't Teddy Roosevelt also get shot too?
Yeah, but he didn't care too much about it, you know. It's a minor inconvenience for him. Minor inconvenience at absolute worst. But still, though, okay, Fear Factor. I'm sure most people know at least something about Fear Factor, the television show. If you don't, the basic premise is that you're afraid of something, and the show is going to make you do that thing to the extreme, like being covered in bees, being covered in snake, like eating disgusting shit. I think there was one where they submerged someone underwater, and that was so dangerous that they would never do it again because they almost killed the dude.
That sounds vaguely familiar, yeah.
Yeah. And Joe Rogan was the host of that. As Joe Rogan has had an interesting career, really.
Well, he did stand-up.
Yeah.
And
he's
at the
done
same
all
time as
kinds
he was
of stuff.
doing stand-up, in the same time he was doing stand-up, he was doing like just amateur boxing and wrestling.
Uh-huh.
And that's how he became a fan of MMA. And then his stand-up led into Fear Factor, and then eventually he ended up getting what I recall, he did the MMA commentary job for UFC for free, basically, because UFC was bleeding money. But he just loved it, so he just did it. And basically his appearance kind of helped bring UFC into the mainstream. This is Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan was a big name in the 2000s. And then now he's doing this podcast thing. It's probably the biggest podcast in the world, I think. Huh? This is the Joe Rogan Experience.
I am pretty sure it is the largest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the UFC as well, and God damn it. Okay, we're going to be discussing some of the finer points of the talk between Joe Rogan and Trump, because I think there was several interesting things in there. And it's a larger, sprawling topic that will touch on things like tariffs, for example, on voting. But I gotta admit, I was a little disappointed. Because Joe Rogan has a reputation of being fairly tough on people when he wants to be. And I was expecting a bit more of a debate, almost. Because he tried to bring up a couple of things, but Trump pretty much just sidestepped it and Joe let it go. It was basically a Joe Rogan-sized kitten just licking Trump occasionally and purring as they went on to a 30-minute talk about UFC fighting, because apparently they're both big fans of it.
Well, my impression of the Joe Rogan Experience is that and this is from a meme, but it's a pretty good meme. It's it is Genghis Khan holding court, like bringing in various experts to debate. Meanwhile, Genghis Khan's kind of an idiot and he's just like, explain to me these things, experts, while he sits there on his throne. That's kind of Joe Rogan, is that like he has this big platform, but I mean, like he's also like he's not a stupid guy, but he's kind of a meathead, right? There are certain things he doesn't know much about, but he brings on people and he says, "Give me your take on this," and he has a real conversation with them. So I actually did not expect this to be an adversarial conversation at all. I expected this to be a 3 hours of let's get to know Trump on a personal level, and that's what it was.
Really? I kind of expected it to be a bit adversarial because I feel like Joe is also the kind of guy who's a little bit attached to his identity as very central politically, and as not the biggest Donald Trump fan, but not the biggest detractor either. There's a little bit of fence posting there. And I figured he would have liked to signal in an anti-Trumpian way almost, or at the very least to not come across as soft on him. Though I suspect that Kamala backing out of her interview might have changed his opinion a little bit too.
Well, by the recording of this episode, because this episode wasn't live, it was pre-recorded. They streamed it, but it was pre-recorded. They just like streamed the file they had recorded. But by you watched the whole thing, right? All 3 hours?
I didn't watch the last hour because it was like 8 in the morning.
Okay, yeah, I watched the whole thing. And there was a moment where Joe Rogan admits that he, as of recording this episode, he was still trying to get Kamala on. And I think since then, Kamala has backed out, right?
I don't know, because the rumor was a few days ago that she'd sent a list of demands, apparently, about like what she wanted to talk about, what she didn't want to talk about, and that was allegedly rejected. And then yesterday, because I did hear this bit, Joe Rogan mentioned that he still wanted to have Kamala on, that he still hoped to have her on, but I don't know if like a final like, no, I'm not going to do it has emerged thereafter.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know, man. I mean, so regardless of how you feel about the politics of these two candidates, Joe Rogan has one of the biggest platforms in the world. If Kamala says she'll go on and they're scheduling it and then she backs out, that's a massive optics loss, especially because Trump just did it, right? Like if Kamala backs out and Trump just did it, like that's like a nail in her coffin, basically.
Let's see. So the latest one I found is this one here. This is from 2 days ago. Kamala Harris to skip Joe Rogan podcast, what we know. So I think that the line of events here is Joe Rogan was trying to get Kamala on. Kamala agreed in principle. Then it didn't happen because of allegedly a list of demands. And then Trump seemingly kind of jumped on this. Apparently, according to Trump himself, via his son Barron, who was then like, okay, you got to get on here. Like, he's got a huge platform. This is going to make Kamala look bad. And it kind of felt like just a spur of the moment because he was in the region. It's like, okay, well, might as well.
Well, also, Barron is apparently a big watcher of like Twitch streams and Kick streams, right? So Barron Trump watches Aiden Ross, which is how Trump got to speak to Aiden Ross. Which, by the way, like that's it's I don't know if you know who Aiden Ross is. He's like a pretty big Kick streamer. It's wild to think about that. Like we now have presidential candidates who have young kids who are like in like 18 or 19, right? And they're watching Twitch streamers and being like, "Dad, you got to go on this guy's huge fucking stream." Like it's incredible how things are currently shaping up.
I mean, if you want a real meme moment, let's see if I can find an article of it here. Okay, Polygon's piece of shit, but I'll wait for now. Bernie Sanders, that old, desperate, wrinkled-up communist, went on a fucking stream, and a goddamn cat boy was explaining VTubing to him. Like, oh.
I bet Nick Fuentes is watching that and masturbating
furiously. Yeah, just jerking off like mad.
But I mean, like, Joe. Here's the thing: Joe Rogan is not a partisan. I mean, he does have some out there beliefs sometimes, but like he's not partisan. He'll talk to people on the left for sure. He had Bernie Sanders on the Joe Rogan Experience, and not to be fair, the Joe Rogan Experience episode with Bernie Sanders, I think it was back in 2020 or something. It was like the 2020 primaries, maybe. But the Bernie Sanders episode of Joe Rogan, it was much more policy focused, and it was only an hour, so they didn't have this kind of winding conversation about personal things like Rogan did with Trump. And that felt more like a traditional interview. And maybe someone told Joe he had to stay on the rails. And maybe 5 years ago, Joe didn't have the clout to fight that. But I mean, with how big Joe's show is now, he could very simply say to Kamala's team, "Listen, I'm going to ask you real questions, and you're going to accept that, or else you're not going to come on." And maybe that's why Kamala walked. Like, who knows, right?
Well, yeah, because the thing is, the alternative influencers now have more power than the mainstream media in reality. And this has really actually been the case for like the last probably 3-4 years or so, maybe even more. In fact, I would have said that the outcompeting of the mainstream media would have gone a lot faster were it not for YouTube, for example, bending the knee to the media channels like the Fox News and CNN, who were given massively preferential treatment on YouTube via being allowed to cover things that other people weren't allowed to cover, and being given advantages in the algorithm as well. Like they're playing on a stacked deck and they're still losing. Whereas these people have a larger audience, and people believe them more. There is more good faith extended towards Joe Rogan than there is towards CNN. And so for a politician that wants to be liked by people, this is the best way to do so. I'm sure you've heard the old thing that politicians are told to speak in a certain way in certain areas to appear like relatable and homely, like when Kamala switches accents, for example.
Yeah, or like Mitt Romney, he was going to speak to Latinos. He had like darker skin. He had like spray tan. It's like, all right, guys.
Yeah.
It's just so weird.
Yeah, like this is kind of that. It's a way to appear natural. And that is a tremendous strength of Trump as well, because the Joe Rogan interview is just him and Rogan gushing over UFC for like 30 solid minutes. It's just two fanboys having a conversation about the thing they're fanboying over.
Mm-hmm.
It's very relatable.
So I dropped an article from the Daily Beast, and in it, let's see, Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign spokesperson Ian Sams said, "We talked with Rogan and his team about the podcast. Unfortunately, it isn't going to work out right now because of the scheduling of this period of the campaign." So they're blaming scheduling issues.
Yeah, I don't fucking know about that. Didn't she? Wait, hold on. Scheduling issues. Didn't Kamala take a break recently?
I'm not sure. To be honest, like aside from these podcast appearances in the past week or so, Trump's been taking a lot of breaks. Trump's campaign schedule is nothing the way like the way it was in 2016. Which, to be fair, like I understand he's like 80 years old at this point. You know, that's how it is. But with Kamala, like I think she had like she did like some sort of event with Beyonce recently. I think it was the same day as the Joe Rogan thing dropped with Trump.
Yeah, the other day.
And like that got like 1/10 of the eyeballs on it. Like no one gives a fuck about Beyonce right now.
Well, the thing is, the Beyonce endorsement, right? There are several layers to this. Firstly, it immediately came out afterwards that allegedly she had been paid a lot of money for this. Now, this is the rumor mill, right? Because it came out supposedly that Lizzo had been paid like $2 million and Beyonce had been paid like $2 million. A lot of this sounds like just rumors to me. Like, really? This leaked within hours? Yeah. People on the internet are not above making shit up for clicks by any stretch of the imagination. But these are also celebrities. They know what they're worth, you know? And they also know that becoming political, there's a price tag attached to that. No matter how left-wing Beyonce thinks her audience is, there is always going to be a cost associated with being seen to be partisan. So it would not surprise me at all if she did ask for some money.
Oh, Beyonce? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe, but at the same time, like a lot of these celebrities, they do just lean that. Like I know that was the thing with Taylor Swift. Everyone kept saying like Taylor Swift, but Taylor Swift doesn't like Trump at all. In fact, Taylor Swift is quite left leaning. So like, I have a feeling that a lot of these celebrities they don't care. They kind of live in the LA bubble, and they're just like, no, this is the right thing to do, and I'm going to do it. And they don't care if they lose, or they don't see they don't see that they lose popularity as a result of it. They don't see it. They don't care.
And there's also the fact as well that a lot of these people are not that relevant anymore. Let's see. When did Beyonce last release like an album? Actually, this year. Never mind. I guess she just isn't. I just haven't heard shit about her. Okay. She
Yeah.
released one in 2016. Then she was on a break till 2022, and then released another in 2024. So basically, from the peak in 2016, she kind of just then fell off and eventually had to return to doing stuff because, I don't know, bills need to be paid, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Hmm. I don't know. I think honestly, it just seems like the music celebrity has kind of fallen off in the past 5 to 10 years. Like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no new celebrities that are worth a shit. There are no new good songs. Like music is kind of just fucking dead right now, so no one gives a shit. Right? Like the next big celebrity are the e-celebrities, and it kind of has been that way for the past 10 years or so.
Yeah, because this then kind of like spirals back to the third point that celebrities just aren't that celebrious anymore. Like you've got the huge ones like Taylor Swift, but there's not really an up and coming crop, neither in music nor really in television. Most of the big name actors are in their goddamn 50s and 60s and stuff. The musicians as well are mostly the established ones. It's nowhere near as vibrant and organic as it was like in the late 90s and 2000s, where a new starlet seemed to be emerging every month, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there are like big name actors that are in their 30s and 40s that are, relatively new. You get your occasional Adam Driver, right? Where it's like, oh, that guy's like younger and coming up and he's making good movies. And it's like, okay, fair enough. But yeah, it's not the way that it was before.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adam Driver is 40 years old.
Well, sure, but like you mentioned 50, like 50 to
Yeah,
60, right?
still, like
As
40
like,
isn't
yeah,
exactly a spring chicken.
no, but at the same time, I mean, when Adam Driver first came to like wider cultural prominence was about 10 years ago. So like, yeah, he's part of the current crop of people that are coming up. I mean, same with Henry Cavill. How old's he? Hold on.
Cavill has got to be in his 40s too, right?
He's 41.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you
so
go.
when he did Superman, he would have been like what, 29 or something. So like, yeah, these aren't like 22-year-old starlets. We're not talking about that. But I mean, the current crop of popular actors, they're not in their 50s or 60s or 70s, right? They're not the old greats from before.
Mm-hmm. How old was Wesley Snipes when he played Blade?
Oh, let's see.
It's got to be like 30, I'd wager.
Wesley Snipes. He's currently 62, and Blade came out when? 99?
Yeah, 98. 98,
1998.
actually.
98. Okay, so that would have put him at 26 or 28.
26. Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm. But yeah, like the celebrity status has fallen off a lot, and as you say, a lot more of internet celebrities are rising up to replace them because that's what the kids are watching these days, and it makes sense also because of the sheer volume of content. Like, okay, Beyonce puts out an album every 2 years, right? In the interim, Joe Rogan produces like 600 podcasts, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like the fact that streaming is off the cuff has kind of replaced a lot of things, right? Like video game streamers replaced video game let's players who already had replaced video game TV shows because those were already a niche, right? Um, Content that you make off the cuff, it's not as polished generally, or it takes a lot more money to make it as polished as something that's produced. But also, it's easier to make, and it's kind of easy to kind of like fall into a niche of just doing a weekly show or doing a daily show or something. It happens to a lot of YouTubers, and there's good money in it too. So like, just a lot of the old ways of making a highly produced show that's live have kind of just fallen by the wayside because there's um there's authenticity in it. Okay, here's something that you might have noticed. If you watch, and Naomi actually sent me a video on this a few months ago, so it's actually quite kind of interesting. If you watch YouTubers, you'll notice that a lot of them, they all use their microphones incorrectly, and they tend to take like lavalier microphones and hold them rather than pin them to their shirts. Have you noticed this trend? The trend of holding a microphone in your hand rather than actually using it properly?
No.
Okay. If you watch a bunch of upcoming YouTubers, they all do that. They all just hold a mic and talk into it, even if it's not a mic that's meant to be held.
Oh.
And it's become like among, let's say, like Gen Z YouTubers, it's almost become a class symbol where like you're making enough money to buy good equipment like a high quality lavalier mic, but also you're still you're still not a professional, so you're going to hold it instead. It's a very strange phenomenon, but there is a pattern of it coming up. People in the chat are saying, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, that's what's going on, is that you have people who they still want to maintain their cred of being, just a random person making a video. So they'll hold their mic improperly. It's very strange, but it's happening.
That's a really weird thing too, though, because then you enter into the question of what actually is authentic. Like, this will then spiral on off into the what is a grifter conversation and so on and so on, I guess. It's like,
yeah, I grab an example of it, right? So this is like a TikToker who does this, and you see just tons of people. They'll take a lav mic that's meant to be pinned to their shirt, and they'll hold it and they'll talk into it. Yeah, and it's so common. It's so fucking common.
Like, that just looks like a little bit of brain damage to me. But okay.
I mean, yeah, but it's apparently currently a trend, and it's supposed to signal that you are you are a not a professional. You're one of the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
even if you're not.
Exactly, though. Like, that's the thing. Like, when this becomes performative, then what the hell is authentic anymore? Like, what do we consider authentic if you can manufacture it?
Well, I mean, that's just kind of how that's how it is, though, with a lot of these things.
Yeah, sure. Like, whenever something becomes
how
popular,
many times?
you manage to, like, chisel out a more produced version of it, I guess.
Yeah. So, like, how many times have there have been like manufactured YouTubers or manufactured streamers where they're not actually organic, homegrown. They're not people who actually did this for the love of the craft. They're being paid to do it, and it's a job, and they have the appearance of just being like someone who turns on a camera and like shoots a vlog, right? From like 10 years ago or something.
Oh yeah,
I mean, as soon as like when that was the popular thing to do, manufacturing the authenticity became the thing, and it's been like that for a long time. Like it's like when something new comes up, and it's authentic and real, and average people are doing it, and it becomes popular, then you start to get the highly produced version of people who are trying to market authenticity to you where it doesn't exist.
I mean, that is literally the entirety of corporate VTubing. That is what it is. It is the idol culture of Japan, with usually very strict restrictions on speech and action patterns, or you get fired, in essence, with the veneer of being organic.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't know why VTubing, more than any other YouTube industry, has fallen prey to it so much, because like anyone can fucking set up a channel. Like, why do you need a company for it? Like, what the fuck? Like, okay, I get it. There's an extra expense because you got to build a model, but I mean, they're not that expensive. Like that's save up for an extra month at your job, you'll be fine. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me why they keep going to companies.
Well, I think two things. One is the fact that a lot of the VTubing thing originated in Asia and in Japan in particular, where they have the whole idol industry that's already established with these rules and expectations and behavior patterns. And secondly, because a lot of women are doing this. And women are slaves to institutions, Dev.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Oh, yes. No, like unironically,
I don't know what comment this is aimed at this time. I don't know what's going on here.
I thought that is unironically a part of it, because a women will just think it is easier to get somebody else to do it, and they're less connected to the idea of doing it for themselves. Like, I genuinely do believe this. Whereas when I sat down to do this shit, I drew my first logo in fucking Paint. Still use this logo to this day.
I mean, there is... So, if we're talking statistically, it is definitely the case that more men are entrepreneurial minded than women on average, right? Which means that when it comes time to set up your own business, it's more likely, or it's more likely that men are going to go out and like look up, okay, what do I need? I need a computer, I need a microphone, I got to learn how to edit, I got to do this, I got to like that. Then women are to do that. Now there are women out there who do that. There are women out there who have that personality type, but it's more common among men. That's just what the numbers show.
There's also, I will immediately add in one other factor as well. When a man starts doing this, you ain't getting no fucking help. Nobody's volunteering to help you. If you're a pretty woman on the internet, well, editing might come easier for some than others, shall we say?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Is if you're well, I mean, it is more like it is a woman effect as well, but it's also just an attractiveness effect, right? Like being attractive opens a lot of doors in life for men or women. More women than men, but like there is an attractiveness effect for men as well. Where like if you're a good looking dude, there definitely things will happen for you easier. But yeah, I think a lot of it is just that like when it comes to having that entrepreneurial personality type, less women have it. So it's like, oh, you got to be a YouTuber. What do you do? Well, you got to get set up. And if you have like a woman who is on the border of having that personality type but isn't quite there, they might just like go sign with a company or something,
I also think it is a sense of security. A false one, mind you, but still a sense of security. When you're with a company, you get the impression that you are a part of a larger entity. Like, they'll make thumbnails for you and stuff. They'll totally, like, get you better deals and, like, merchandise and sponsorship and stuff. They virtually never do. Like, my lore channel is signed with a multi-channel company for one reason and one reason only. If YouTube decides to delete my fucking ass, they're literally the only means of communication I have with YouTube. That's it.
It's the same reason why I've used them, but in the past too.
Yeah, like they do actually increase my revenue by a tiny amount because they do have slightly better like advertisement deals with YouTube, but it's like a handful of percent, and I pay them like 1% of my fucking earnings, which is fine. Like that's a fine trade, but for a woman, it probably comes across like, oh, I don't need to worry about making the thumbnail. Oh, I don't need to worry about like making the schedule or planning out what I'm gonna do. Like my company's gonna help me and tell me, and they'll totally understand the algorithm and shit. No, they're lying to you, bitch. They're lying out of their fucking asses. Nobody understands the fucking algorithm.
Yep. MCNs basically just give you an added layer of security and line to YouTube in exchange for a cut of your revenue. That's it. And you know what? For a lot of channels, that'll be a worthy trade-off anyway. So it's not like it's a bad deal.
I mean, it's a bigger security blanket than Google and YouTube gives you.
Yep.
In fact, okay. Let's see if I can find it here. So Lum Lum is not here today, chat. She was on a hiatus. She'll be back next week, I think. But Lum Lum's podcast channel got deletoed yesterday. Let's see. Here it is, yeah.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So
RIP.
That does not affect her Google account because lucky for Lum Lum, she didn't have the same Google account tied up to both accounts. Otherwise, boom.
Yeah, because that happened to me back in 2019, where I had all my channels under one account, and my gaming channel got hit with copyright strikes for gaming purposes, right? So I lost the main channel for like 3 months. I was like, oh shit, oops. So I split that up after that, but still.
Yeah, because in theory, right? In theory, you're supposed to have 3 strikes and then you're out. In reality, that too is a bit of like a maybe system. Because their channel was vetoed immediately under the sex and nudity policy, apparently. And what happens then is that they take everything, your entire Google account, your entire like existence, your email, all of it, which also means you have no fucking way whatsoever to contact Google.
So in my experience, usually you get an email like this because they've found 3 infractions already. So it's like if you get hit with 3 strikes very quickly, well then you have had your 3 strikes. It's just that they all happened at the same fucking time, which sounds ridiculous, but it's on paper. It is how it is. You can still appeal through a manual system that YouTube has set up through an automated email thing, but like YouTube doesn't tell you about it. You have to know to email a certain thing and like say it a certain way, and then it'll like open a ticket for you.
Well, they did that. You know what the response was?
They're looking into it.
Nope.
Oh, what is it?
They told them that they don't appear to have a Google account anymore, and so they couldn't help them.
Oh, last time I had to use it, I didn't get that response.
So yeah, getting yeeted off YouTube is a fucking pain in the ass. Right. So we were back on the topic of manufactured authenticity and celebrities and many, many layers of stuff.
Yeah, because this is supposed to be about Trump and Joe Rogan.
Yes, to roll this all the way back again, what we just elaborated is that, yes, e-celebrities are more popular than actual celebrities now, and so going on the Joe Rogan podcast is worth a lot more than having Beyonce show up on stage for 10 minutes and go like, I'm totally voting for you. What's your name again?
Well, it's also very strange because Joe Rogan technically isn't an e-celebrity. He's a traditional celebrity, right? Like he came about up in the 90s and he did stand up and he did TV shows and like he is very much part of the old media apparatus.
He is, but he's transitioned.
Yeah, he's moved out of it. So like I think that's a big reason why Joe Rogan is so big is because he had that initial boost when old media was king, and now that new media is king, he's transitioned over there.
Oh yeah, of course. Like anyone will tell you that it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to starting a second YouTube channel than a first one, and it's kind of the same here. Right? He already had a platform, a user base, friends, and connections that he could use to get people on his podcast, and not to mention seed money, of course.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if you recall, but back when Jack Black first started his YouTube channel, like it massively blew up before he even posted a video.
Oh, well,
the issue ultimately is that Jack Black didn't take his channel so his channel has 5 million subs, right? And he posted he had 100,000 subs before he even posted a video, and like he hasn't done videos on this channel in a long time, so it's like a dead channel, right? But it's still Jack Black. Like if he came back, he'd still get money. He'd still get views. The issue is that the difference is that Joe Rogan actually took his channel seriously, and most celebrities don't.
Oh yeah, I mean, the more recent example, Cristiano Ronaldo. Remember, we checked out his channel, which grew to like 30 million subscribers in like a day.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing something with it, like he's uploading stuff. Because I'm thinking that he probably understands that he's probably only got like tops 5 more years as a soccer player before it's probably over. But if he gets on YouTube and starts producing stuff of quality there, I mean, he's already got huge sponsors there, obviously. He's already getting like 1 million+ views per video. This is absolutely a career for him in the future, no doubt about it. Like, he could easily just become a podcast host or a vlogger, etc. Like, the fucker has the money to travel to whatever luxurious destination he wants to and make, like, travel videos or parenting videos or whatever, right? He can do literally anything he wants.
Yep. Someone in the chat mentioned Kamala Harris going on 60 Minutes. And wasn't that like its own shit show? Like didn't they edit out like I heard about that, where like someone released a trailer or like an early cut and Kamala had an answer for a question, but then when it came out and the actual episode came out, they had cut in a different answer. Is that what happened?
Yes.
That's fucking terrible. Like that's ridiculous. That makes Kamala look slimy and look like she can't fucking send it to scrutiny, which might be a reason why she's not going on Joe Rogan. Like it's looking bad for her right now. It's looking really fucking bad for her right now.
The problem too is like they actually responded.
Kamala Harris has been a candidate for president.
Did they?
Yes, they actually responded to that as well. I'll put that in the live link here. So, firstly, the 60-minute interview is not 60 minutes, it's 20 minutes, which makes a lot of people go like, hold on, excuse, what? Where are the other 40?
Yeah, but the whole point of like 60 minutes was called 60 minutes because they guaranteed a 60-minute interview every time.
Yeah.
That's how it was like 50 years ago.
I don't know if they've just changed their format but still kept the name because marketing or whatever, but all right. But they put out the statement. Former President Donald Trump is accusing 60 Minutes of deceitfully editing our October 7th interview with Vice President Kamala. That is false, they say. Okay. 60 Minutes gave an excerpt of our interview to Face the Nation that used a longer section of her answer than on 60 Minutes. Same question, same answer, but a different portion of the response When we edit interview whether political or athletic or movie stars, we started to be clear, accurate, and on point. The portion of her answer of 60 minutes was more succinct, which allows time for other subjects in a wide-ranging 21-minute long segments. So basically it's saying, yes, we edited it, but we edited it to make her look better and less rambly. Hold on, 60 minutes. I don't...
That's still...
I think you're proving Trump's point here.
Here, let me see if I can find it. Give me a second. Now I want to see what they actually did.
In the meantime, let me just do a couple of these Streamlabs, and I need to bring up the Rumble thingy as well before I completely forget about it. But yeah,
I think I've got it. I've got it. Here. So, if you it's just that we're both looking at it, do you want to stream it in Discord so we can both watch the same thing when you play it for the chat?
All right, yes, that's probably it. Good idea. All right, let me share screen. There. Like, is it the whole thing or is it a part of it?
I'm not sure. Just start watching, I guess.
Deceitful editing. Okay, so here it becomes deceitful editing at the beginning.
Editing. Here is a side-by-side comparison of the clip in question. Judge for yourself.
Wait, hold on. Give me a
But
second.
it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill,
Okay.
the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that
That was one fuck of an answer. Did you hear that? Dab.
I heard maybe the last 60% of it.
Fucking
So I'm still
dab.
trying to get it working.
Okay.
Sorry.
Is it working now? Dab.
Yeah, it's working.
All right, let me play it again.
Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that
So that was a 16-second answer to say, we've totally made him do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the edited answer.
Let's
Prime
see.
Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for
Hold up, that's an entirely different fucking answer.
It is. It is, yes.
this
Hold on.
war to end.
Okay. Yeah, no, that
also,
is
nice glasses, first of all.
Yeah, those were quite amazing. Yeah, no, that was obviously two completely different responses. What the fuck?
Well, maybe if we keep watching, this person with these glasses will explain it. Let's see.
Okay.
CBS fired back at the allegation, calling it false. They released a statement in CBS News Magazine Sunday.
Okay, we saw the
reading in
statement
part,
already.
Quote,
Yeah.
When we edit any interview, whether a politician, an athlete, or movie star, we strive to be clear, accurate, and on point. The portion of her answer on 60 Minutes was more succinct, which allows time for other subjects in a wide-ranging 21-minute-long segment.
Trump's campaign spokesperson, Caroline Leavitt, responded, quote, 60 Minutes just admitted to doing exactly what President Trump accused them of doing. This is
I mean, yes. Okay, so the reasoning is the same. Their response is the same, that they edited in a... Yeah, no, that is exactly what Trump accused you of. What the fuck are you on? What?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping that there was going to be like a more complete comparison or something in here, maybe, but maybe not.
Well, what I thought they'd done was like that maybe she waffled a bit and they cut out like the beginning waffle and they just ended with the last 6 seconds saying like, oh, he's totally responded to some of our movements.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, yeah.
Yeah, instead it's just a completely different answer. Okay, right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
This too is the thing though, because they mention in the Joe Rogan interview, the Trump mentions that if Kamala came on, it would probably be a disaster, is what he claims. And Joe is like, no, I don't think so. We can have a conversation. I think it would be a disaster. I think that is why Kamala isn't going on. Because if she can't succinctly answer a question as simple as, do you think you've had an effect in the Middle East, under like a half a minute, she's going to have a very hard time live without a script with Joe Rogan, who's probably likely to be a lot less cooperative than a CNS NBC host.
Yep. Because Joe will just like ask, basic questions like, hey, like, weren't you called the border Caesar? How come the border's still open? Like, even if how he's framing the question's ultimately false, the fact that she couldn't answer the question accurately on her feet, it would just be like a death knell for her,
And again, like, you remember the Fox interview as well, which was a disaster. That was also only a 20-minute interview. Imagine she sitting down and having a 3-hour-long conversation.
So at least Biden had an excuse. He was kind of old.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I get it. Like, what is Kamala's excuse? That she can't string a sentence together, or like get her act togetger, or like have decent answers for like some of these obvious questions.
I mean, she's just actually retarded. I mean, she did all right in the debate, but in the debate too, she'd been preparing for that for weeks, and you pretty much already know what the questions are going to be, even if they don't hand them to you. There's only so many things you're going to be talking about in an official debate like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it probably became fairly rote, her responses. But with Joe Rogan, who might as well just start talking about fucking wrestling out of goddamn nowhere, if she's actually just stupid, that's going to be a problem.
Fuck, I don't know, man. Like, I can think of like other candidates from both the Democrats and the Republicans that could actually like have a decent conversation with Joe Rogan, but Kamala just seems like almost like too corporatized, she's almost not human in some ways.
Oh, okay. Like maybe she just like has performance anxiety. Maybe she gets nervous really easily and starts freaking out. Maybe that's why she needs all of the preparation. Or again, maybe she's just actually legitimately stupid.
Oh, someone in the chat says she had someone in her ear telling her what to say. That wasn't true. That turned out to be false.
Yes, that did turn out to be false. The whole like audio ear dub thingy, yeah.
The earring, yeah, that ended up not being true, yeah.
That was fairly conclusively debunked.
Yep.
She's high on cocaine. I don't know. If she was high on cocaine, I think she'd string together better answers. At the very least, they'd be interesting answers.
I mean, say what you want about Tim Walz, but he seemed like an actual real person when he was doing that debate with Vance.
He did, but he also made so many fuck-ups.
Oh, yeah, he made some errors, but like his errors were human errors. They weren't robot programming errors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Tim Walz seems like an actual guy, like not a manufactured product.
Yeah. Yeah. So, for what we know then, Kamala's definitely not going on Joe Rogan, it appears, due to scheduling conflicts. Okay.
I mean, with the fallout from that, she has a few more days to get her schedule in fucking order and get on that show. She has like, and she should. Like, if she was smart, she would do it. She would bite the bullet. She would take some L's because they would definitely come in, but it would look better than not showing up.
Well, that's the question, because it becomes a calculation at that point, right? If she shows up, at the very least, she can't be called a coward, and she can show Trump up. If she can just manage to stay alive for 3 hours, she'll come off looking, at the very least, better. But again, the damage is there. The potential for damage is absolutely there. Like, the Biden debate, I don't think anybody thought that it would go as bad as it did. Like, unmitigated disaster is a potential outcome of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the Biden debate was basically the end result of the Democrats' own hubris, right? Like if they wanted Kamala Harris to have more legitimacy among the average voter, they would have had an open convention. Kamala would have probably won it. Joe Biden would have announced that he was not running again, like back in January, had the open convention, do actual debates, have a real primary. Kamala, would do her debates, and the fact that she's the VP, she can at least lean on that experience. She probably would have won it. And if she comes into the general election having actually won a Democratic primary, she would just look a lot better than Biden dropping out after the debate and the convention being like, I guess we'll put Kamala in there because Biden's dropping out. Like, who the fuck else do we have? Like, it was such a misstep on the Democrats' part. And if they could just accept the fact, like even if it wasn't made public, people behind the scenes knew what Biden was, like how bad he was getting, how old he was looking. Like they had to have known. And
it also laid Kamala bare for the most vicious attack on the Fox News interview, where it's like, okay, so you say Trump is deranged, unstable, not fit for leadership. And absolutely. And he goes, when did you realize that Joe Biden wasn't fit for leadership? Oh, shit. Yeah, like you said,
it's one of those things where like if she had actually won a real primary election, she would be in better shape right now, because at least then she actually ran. She had a campaign that she ran,
Yes, she would be more legitimate, and they couldn't just simply look at her and go like, so you backed up a living corpse for 4 years. No moral failings there? So I don't think we're going to see it. Like, I'm pretty sure at this point, Kamala is beginning to realize that the winning tactic from the beginning would have been to just go like a clam, shut the hell up, not speak a word until the election, and simply hope that anti-Trumpism will win the race for her. Because that was, in essence, what won Biden the race for him.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, Biden didn't really win in 2020. Trump just lost. Right, and I think that's what it was ultimately. Like, the Democrats could have put anyone up in 2020. I think they would have won it.
So long as they kept their mouth shut, yeah.
Yeah. I guess, like, I know there's that Shapiro guy on the Democrat side who's like a rising star, but like they're probably saving him for the next cycle, right? Because like if Kamala wins, okay, then she might have 4 to 8 years. If Trump wins, then he's done. Like, I know people are saying he's going to become like the God Emperor. Actually, it's like, no, he's not. It's, the chances of him actually just like getting 18 terms is quite low. So like after this, Trump is done. So they're probably saving that Shapiro guy for like 2028, because like he'll be like the next wave of young Democrats coming up. Yeah.
Kamala does feel a little bit like a sacrificial goat.
Yeah, she does.
She had a big surge of popularity initially. And I was really starting to wonder, because the entire machinery was working overtime to back her up, and really like, oh my God, she's so funny, she's such a breath of fresh air, etc. But then she started speaking.
Like, she was a breath of fresh air, but then like that breath ran out, and we had 2 more months to go.
Yes. Then she started talking. Yeah. That was the issue. And honestly, I don't think she should go on Joe Rogan at this point. I think going on Joe Rogan now is going to look worse, because you're already going to have the hesitation as an element, and then you're going to have probably a poor performance. And plus, the fact that Joe strikes me as maybe a pinch petty. Just I don't know. I'm basing this of absolutely nothing beyond my vibe read. But I feel like if this guy is wronged, he's gonna be mean about it. And if Kamala comes on after having basically refused, I think he's gonna go really hard on her.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he'll be like, so you backed out and then came back. What's the deal with that? Like, it'll be such an easy slam dunk for him,
Yes.
He should not have walked away, or she should not have walked away initially. People ask who the Shapiro guy is. So we're talking about Josh Shapiro, who's the governor of Pennsylvania right now, and he's quite popular. And he's currently 51, so he's not like ancient. He's pretty much the right age and has the right experience to be the next Democratic nominee. And people seem to like him. So he'll probably be the next guy. Like if he had to go up against Trump, he'd probably lose right now. And it would probably just tank his career the same way that like DeSantis tanked his career by going against Trump.
Yep.
So he's probably just waiting in the wings for Trump to cycle out, and then
DeSantis
he'll
should have
appear.
waited. DeSantis should have waited.
Should have. Yeah, DeSantis like destroyed his career doing it. I think DeSantis would have been a better president than Trump even, but he wasn't going to beat Trump in a direct election. It wasn't going to happen.
So, okay, to finally bring this to some of the actual points of contentions here then, now that we've waffled on about other stuff, stupid stuff for an hour, God help me.
Yeah, it's fun though. It's like being on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yes, yeah. So he talked about his biggest mistake in the White House. That's a big thing. His relationship with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. That's another big thing. That he alleges that Ukraine-Russia wouldn't have happened. He talks a bit about the accusation of election frauds, but not really. And there is the big thing, I think, is the tariff debate. So those are like the key bullet points. Do you have any you want to add?
That's pretty much it. I mean, of course, also the UFC stuff.
You want to discuss UFC?
I did notice though that when Joe Rogan asked him what was the biggest mistake of your presidency, he didn't really give a straight answer. He said maybe like he trusted some people he shouldn't have trusted. And that was basically his answer. And it wasn't a great answer because he made more mistakes than that, obviously. But
well, yeah, but I mean, he's asking what's your biggest mistake, like singular.
Yeah. I mean, we both know what I think it was, but
yeah, but you're wrong, Dick.
Yeah. No, I'm completely correct about that.
But his biggest, I think it's a fair enough answer. His biggest mistake was definitely getting people in positions that weren't fit for them, either due to not knowing what they were doing, they weren't as capable as he thought they were, or by being disloyal. And this is the biggest mistake a president can make, because bear in mind, the president is one guy. He can only do so much damage. It's the 100 appointees that he makes that are really going to cause some shit on a national setting. And so if you, as he said himself, that he's not a politician, if you don't know who to hire for these positions, you've got to rely basically on either cronyism, like, oh, I know this guy, he'll probably do a good job, or other people telling you that, oh, this guy would probably do a good job, right? And he made a lot of bum hires. He was not able to clean up the swamp as he said he would. In fact, he hired a lot of the swamp. And I think his explanation of simply not knowing any better is, unfortunately, a fairly good one. Like that is the problem of getting a non-politician into political office.
He also kind of became the swamp. And I know the chat's not going to agree with that, and Arch, you might not agree with it either, but he definitely became the swamp in some ways, right? Like the fact that, for example, Paul Manafort got, he got thrown in jail and then Trump pardoned him because he was corrupt, but he was corrupt in a pro-Trump way, so Trump pardons him. And it's like, okay, well, now you're just substituting out one swamp for another swamp at this point. It's like, well, that didn't really help the problem.
I don't know. Like, I agree in theory that it's a swamp for a swamp, but I will then also hasten to add that you fight fire with fire.
You think so?
Yeah, I do think so. I
don't know about that, man.
I am entirely, like, the left has convinced me, without question, Dev. I am on board with all of the lefty tactics now. They have proven to me they work, they're effective, and they're clearly moral because of their efficiency. Now, in another 10, 20 years of brutal right-wing oppression, maybe I'll revisit the point. But for the moment, I'm on board.
See, here's the thing. I'll agree with you when it comes to cultural production. I'll agree with you when it comes to video games and how shitty movies are getting and all the woke DEI fucking nonsense. Yeah, okay, fair enough. When it comes to politics, no, I'm not on board with that.
You will be. You will be. Give it another 8 years of Trudeau.
Oh, fuck. I don't think that's happening, man. He's so unpopular here now. Like and his opponent is so ridiculously popular and getting more popular by the day. Like he's basically just counting his fucking days at this point. So like an election has to be called by summer. I think it's like late summer 2025. But if any of Trudeau's budgets fail, an election is immediately called because he lost the support of the other parties. So now like he's a minority government that's not being propped up. So as soon as a bill fails, we get an election. So like we could have an election in the next 2 weeks here in Canada. It's a bit, things are a bit up in the air.
We shall see.
We'll
let
see.
me do a couple of the supporters thingies before I forget about them, and then we'll do
Super
the
chats.
tariffs. Because the tariffs, I really want to get into the tariffs because I think there's some interesting ideas there.
I don't recall him talking too much about the tariffs in the conversation though.
Well, not too much, but basically it has connection to the zero income tax idea he floated a little while ago.
Okay.
So Mr. T tipped $250. Thank you very much. That's a good way to start things off. Thank you. Would give more, but I will spend 3 times as much on a tablet so a femboy could become an artist as well as my Reaper plants. Oh, excuse me there. I spent things on a tablet so a femboy could become an artist. Are you the femboy, Mr. P? Or do you have one? As well as my Reaper plants need tending to and some proper food like bone and blood meal. Chairman Mao Asakura, thank you very much, sir. Right, more for the Futa Dick Girl calendar. Good. Let me see. Where is Chairman Mao Asakura on the list now? There she is. I need to update the calendar at some point in the near future. Night Dutchman for 5,600 check-ins, which is a lot, thank you. Also, I need to add that goddamn bonus to that. There. We're making a sexy calendar, Dev. There.
Hold on. I choked on my food when you said that.
Well, there you go. Hellheart. With the soup chat, I should be getting around half of the Wartail Fund, depending whether you meant euros or dollars when sending the price. And do you know of any far-right countries? I tried asking Google, but there was too much text. Argentina's looking pretty good these days, I guess. Far-right countries. Russia? China? North Korea? That's the closest thing you get at this point, which isn't great, but, you know, it's something, isn't it? It's something. Let me actually just put that there, too. Wartails, okay. Right, I'll note that down. Thank you very much, sir. Car Forever has been home for 10 months. Late and Kamala, Swede. Dev was late as usual. Boog, which pony do you think Trump and Rogan like best? That's a good question, Boog, as always. A very complicated, multifaceted question that you ask there. I don't know. What pony?
Someone in the chat said Naked Dev should be the October surprise in the calendar. Here's what I'll do, okay? We'll get a pile of fake ballots, and I'll pose naked in the pile for the calendar, okay?
Oh, there was already a Naked Dev, but he fell off the calendar pretty quickly, sadly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nobody wanted to donate more money for Naked Dev, I'm afraid. Which is unfortunate, definitely. Okay, Trump's favorite pony is Applejack, just because she's American. There you go. And Joe Rogan's favorite pony is the cringe one, the one that likes music. There you go. There you are, Boog. I have answered your pony-related question again. Boog, Dosta Esteponi memo. Prove Celestia is a criminal. I don't know. I am unaware what this pony thing is. A Nightmare.
Hold on. I know what that is.
What
Okay.
is?
He says, So he's referencing the Eastman memo. He said East Pony.
Okay, the East Pony.
Yeah, does the East Pony memo make Princess Celestia a criminal? What do you
No.
think, Arch?
Princess Celestia is a goddess and is forgiven for all her wrongdoings. Nightmare question. What's Dev's favorite mythological creature? A peg, a sus.
That's pretty good.
Boog. Ronald Reagan ended up giving amnesty to illegals. Ah, there you go. See, he was a bad person. There you go. Shadowfox2300. Old Ronald was a very proportional guy. Proportional. Builder, hey Arch, can you do a lore video on the Battle of Isfahan 3, specifically the purging of the loyalist elements of the traitor legions? Never say never, but it's not on the immediate schedule. WMC Wolverine, greetings to the Swedish chef. I'm going to have to catch the stream later. I just want to say that in truth, we Americans need a better candidate other than the two options we have at the moment. I don't think many people would disagree with that. Like, better candidates would always be good. Why are you hating? Both the LA and New York Times have refused to endorse a candidate, and their woke workers are livid. 5 to Fluttershy. Yeah, isn't that interesting, though? Like, suddenly, a lot of organizations have embraced political neutrality again. Wow.
You know what? I am happy for it. I hope this is a step in the right direction where we can get back to corporations not being quite so partisan. That would be actually quite nice. Give us back the nifty 90s with that shit. Now, it might not happen quite that way for obvious reasons, but maybe they've learned their lesson. Maybe after 10 to 15 years of constantly getting fucking battered in the public square and losing money like crazy, they've learned that people actually do just want, neutral private institutions that do not take a fucking side in politics. Maybe they've actually learned the lesson. Let's hope.
Maybe. I certainly would like it. Although I would like to get revenge in first. Like, I want to kill this newspaper first. Then they can apologize.
I know, yeah. There were like the obvious people who follow me around disliking me on Twitter. They were screaming, "Oh, Dev's ridiculous. Doesn't understand." Listen. All right, I get it. When you are neutral and you are confronted with an enemy that explicitly says no, we cannot be neutral. Like, I get it. I understand the postmodern point of view. Okay, I understand the postmodern left wingers. I understand the postmodern right wingers. However, you can nonetheless still be aggressively neutral and say, you know what? No, we are not going to do this, and fuck you. Steam is doing that right now until, as you mentioned in previous ArchCasts, until Gaben dies, then who the fuck knows, right? But right now, Steam's doing it, and Steam is successfully doing it. So you can actually do this sort of thing. So if you have someone who's in charge of an institution who has a fucking spine and says, no, this is supposed to be neutral, and we will be neutral, it's possible, all right? You can, in fact, root out subversives without implanting your own subversives. You know what I mean? It's possible.
You can, and I am all for enforcing the tyranny of neutrality, but I also like revenge. Holzer. Joe said several times that he didn't like Trump. I don't know. I didn't see the interview. He has, which is, again, I feel like Joe might have a little bit of the old fence post. A little bit. It's like, okay, I'm going to stay sort of kind of neutral on this to get a wider audience. But he seemed to get along very well with Trump, so maybe he'll change his tune. Anthony, she doesn't want to do it because she would be asked unscreened questions. That is indeed an unfortunate thing. And OmniStep94, hey, hope you're all having a good day. I am. I'm having a very good day. Thank you.
Same. It's been pretty good today, Gotten a lot of work done.
Rolane Ramirez, have you all seen the video on CNN News 18 about kids' thoughts of Kamala and Trump? I think I saw a clip of it about some child going, Kamala's a bit of a dum-dum.
I didn't see that, no.
Boog, Trump has not taken a break for almost 3 months. Dev, lying Dev.
I'll have to look into it, because I have seen some numbers where it's like numbers of rallies, and Trump's numbers are much lower than they were in 2016. I'll look into it, though.
Christian Thurber. Arch, any name suggestions for a warlord titan? The shadow of inescapable penetration. There you go. Flexing Potato. Hey, Dev, have you ever considered making a video on Rhodesia and why giving everyone the franchise right away doesn't work, especially when trying to liberalize/develop the third world?
I do not know much about Rhodesia specifically, so I can't really tell you anything about that. But I do also understand that, like, you can't just flip a switch and impose, like, a liberal utopia. It's not going to work, right? People will rebel and they will fucking start burning things down. That's like a great example is Saudi Arabia, right? If you know anything about the Saudi princes, they're like Western educated and they're very Western minded, and politically, personally, they're quite liberal. But they also understand that they rule over a crew of people who all just live like they're still in the fucking Middle Ages, right? So if they said, you know what, women can now vote and they can now drive and they can now do all the things that men can do, basically their government would be overthrown. So they have to they have to thread the needle of pushing things in a direction that they think is more ethical, but also not pushing it so fast and so much that their government gets toppled, right? So there's what your morals say you should do, and then there's the practical nature of politics and this of politics and power in the system that you're in, and having to balance these two competing concerns. So like, I get it, I understand. I even though I don't know anything about Rhodesia, I understand what probably happened there because it's happened in other places.
Rhodesia lives on in our hearts. I don't know, the more I've looked into Rhodesia, it is a very interesting situation, because Rhodesia wasn't overthrown so much by its people as it was overthrown by everyone else. Now, the West refused to help Rhodesia because Rhodesia was not liberal enough. Even though it was probably the most functional liberal democracy in the region, it did not embrace enough of the liberal ideology to be considered good by the liberal West. It was everything and nothing, regardless of how well that would actually function. Like, South Africa is a fantastic example of this by and large. Nelson Mandela, of course, was lauded as a hero, as a masterful mind and a politician, etc., and was elected, of course, on a basis of his popularity, largely. He's not quite so popular anymore, as the results of his many policies have turned out to be kind of catastrophic for South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is something that most right-wing people say, and it's true, is that you can't force liberalism on a population that doesn't want it, that isn't ready for it in a sense. Like if they don't have certain ideas about human rights, individuality, about private property, you can't just if you force it, it'll be catastrophic, and it happens all the time in the third world.
Well, actually, no. There's the thing. You can force it. You can absolutely. That was kind of what Rhodesia was demonstrating, that you can absolutely force Western values upon savages. But you have to force it upon them. It has to be done via colonialism. It must be done by a military force, in essence. The people whom you are forcing it upon must be made to accept it, because otherwise they will not. If you, like the Arab Spring, for example, if you topple tyrants in the Middle East, and they were toppled quite actively, I will add, then the people will go and we're a democracy now. Okay, what are you going to vote for? Theocracy.
Yep.
Well, shit.
Like we did it with Japan and with South Korea and Taiwan, and those places largely worked out. And, you know, but we didn't do it with Africa, and we didn't do it with Middle East, and they're shitholes. It's like, well, there you go.
Well, we did it for a while, but then we stopped. That was the problem.
Well, I mean, we stopped because we started like losing faith in our own project, right? We started saying, oh, well, aren't these other cultures valid as well? Like, we're not going to be racist. It's like, no, listen, all right, if you must be a racist to be liberal, then fine. I'll sacrifice the anti-racism in the name of liberalism, because if we're binding culture and race together conceptually, then we have to say, yeah, there are shittier cultures out there. That's just how it is. And it's like, well, like your culture sucks. Fuck you.
Our liberalism, in essence, became too progressive. We swallowed our own lie that everyone is born equally. regardless of any other external factors. We came to the conclusion that a man born in England, with all of the advantages of being born in England, is totally the exact same as a guy born in the bush in Kenya, with all of the detractions of being born in a bush in Kenya. And so we figured that if we just imposed the same system of governance there as we did back home and ignored the fact that it took us about 2,000 years to arrive at that point, we'd be fine. No.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Like, and the thing is, like you can still do the situation where you go to the bush in Kenya and grab like a baby orphan and raise them in the West, and they'll be Western. You can still do that because culture has a big part to play in it. But a 40-year-old immigrant is not the same thing as a baby orphan. He has 40 years of another culture that is not a liberal one already in him, right? So it's not genetics, but culture cannot simply be erased by immigrating somewhere. Well, no, it's not that simple.
There is a genetic element to this as well. And we're not talking about skin color, by the way, YouTube. Calm the fuck down. We're talking about the fact that an area in Kenya is going to have far lesser resources, and thus the survival of people in Kenya is going to be based on entirely different strategies than in England. And those strategies don't produce philosophers. You don't survive in Kenya by being Aristotle. You survive in Kenya by being really good at running or really, really strong, not having a high IQ. And this is what we... Oh, God, I don't know. YouTube, calm down. I'm not alleging race. I'm alleging evolution, YouTube. Because yes, it is an observable fact that the average IQ in Africa is significantly lesser, and that's because they've had a lower developed civilization for longer than we have. In Europe, you can grow up, and it is a reasonable thing to assume that you will grow up, that you can be a poet or a scientist or a liberal artist. That is a possibility. If your only strategy for surviving the jungle is painting thing with your menstrual blood, you're probably not going to procreate. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of different reasons for this, right? Because there's also access to like access to good food, access to education from an early age. There's going to be nourishment. Yeah. So many factors. Man, I recall reading a paper at one point where civilizations that outlawed incest earlier, they ended up getting like an extra 7 IQ points out of it on average across their entire population because having inbred babies was just just genetic defects up the wazoo. So like just there's so many things happening here, right? When it comes to well, why is it a certain population has a lower or higher IQ? There's so many variables involved.
And the thing is, those variables need to be fixed over the course of centuries. That's the thing. You need to introduce multiple generations worth of elevated education, of elevated nutritional values, of getting rid of fucking your cousins, etc. And all of this isn't done in 10 years. It ain't done in 20, 30, 40. It's not done in 100. It's done in maybe 200-300 years. You know, it takes forever to do this.
And additionally, the difference between immigration, let's say before 2016 and now, is that like let's say before was it 2015 you had the European migrant crisis? Was that when it started? But immigration before then, if you were getting immigrants from Africa, they were overwhelmingly like the cream of the crop of those societies because they knew multiple languages. They had come over to go to schools because they were the best of that society. And generally, even if there were cultural differences, these people weren't idiots. They were competent, and they would their kids would eventually integrate, sure. But even if they didn't culturally integrate, they weren't active drains on the societies that they moved to, because if they came from Africa, they came from India or wherever it was, these were the people who were these were basically their elite stock from that society. But now, when you have the migrant crisis, it's just millions of random people wandering over. And there's no guarantee that these are the people who have like 2 professional degrees and they know 3 languages, and there's no guarantee of that. They're just random people now. It's like, well, there's no vetting process anymore.
Well, this is the origins of the doctors and engineers myth. Because, back in the day, we took the best and the brightest. This led to the problem of brain drain, which only worsened the situation in these countries. And then eventually, we then arrive at the migrant crisis, which is where we are now.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, like, if you had like an immigrant from Nigeria in 1980, he's probably not just a random dude. But like nowadays, who the fuck knows?
Yeah, because he was the guy who had the resources to get to America in the first place, which meant that he was either driven, intelligent, or successful enough to do so in the first place.
Or he was like the son of a leader or something, like a politician. Like there's also nepotism involved in this too, but basically it wasn't just like a random bum.
Yeah. Right, having introduced a little bit of racism into the video as well. Martin Shane, before Sweet Baby Inc., there was Do Nouveau. Dreyfus, the thing about celebrity endorsement right now is Hollywood is currently going through the diddling, so that has to count for something. I think more and more of the general public is recognizing many celebrities being weird. Oh yeah, I mean, there has always been all kinds of rumors swirling around Hollywood, and I believe them largely because the simple fact is when you have everything, you're going to be starting to look at the things you don't have, the taboos, and they're going to start becoming very appealing. Which is why most entrenched elite societies over the years, also throughout history, have tended to grow rather interesting, shall we say.
Degenerate?
Degenerate's another word, but yes.
Okay, so that previous super chat about De Nouveau and Sweet Baby Inc. De Nouveau is the DRM company.
Oh, that one. Really? Was that?
Yeah, they make all the DRM for Steam games, and they end up being like these terrible pieces of shit that like track all your data and make your computer run slow, but at least they prevent you from pirating it. Like it's not a very good company, and it's basically become a meme, De Nouveau. In fact, I think the reason why you got that super chat is because here, I'll post it in live links. This happened recently. There's De Nouveau is tired of gamers saying that DRM is bad for games. Because like the company De Nouveau has become a meme of just like a mark of bad quality DRM, and so they're now De Nouveau's striking back, I guess. And this story went viral a couple of days ago.
Striking back. Let's see, there it is. Antipar's comment, Duve is tired of gamers saying its DRM is bad for games. It's super hard to see as a gamer what is the immediate benefit. Well, the immediate benefit is getting the fucking piece of shit software out of the video game. That's easy.
Yeah, I'm a gamer myself, and therefore I know what I'm talking about. I think it's super hard to see as a gamer what's the immediate benefit for me that a certain game developer is using our anti-piracy services. De Nouveau simply works, and pirates can't play games. And so like that's why like he thinks that his company is hated because it's preventing pirates from playing games. That's probably part of it. But another big part of it is definitely the fact that his software makes games run worse.
And also, I'm not entirely sure it prevents pirates from playing games either, as most of the time they'll probably crack that De Nouveau thing within, months maybe.
Well, is this actually your first time about hearing the word De Nouveau, really?
No, I've heard about it before.
Okay, yeah.
Runs bad. Makes game bad. Sadness. And I wanted to get to more super chats before I needed to get back onto the goddamn tariffs, but we got sidetracked by racism, so here we go. Tariffs. I want to talk about the tariffs, because tariffs are good, Dev. I don't care about your little Canadian opinions here. Tariffs are good. And if it could lead to zero income tax, then Trump can be king for all I care. I'll see if I can find a picture of Trump as king. There we go. Good enough.
Okay. So I think Trump said something about that, where basically income tax going to zero in the federal level, in exchange tariffs on incoming goods. Yeah, like I think that's a bad idea. I understand the benefits of tariffs when you want to bootstrap up your own native industries. I get it. Like I understand it. And there's definitely an argument to be made that we should not have sent all this shit to China. Fair enough. But also other countries just do things better. And if you can trade with them, if you can specialize and they can specialize in something else, and then you trade in your specializations, that's like capitalism 101, right? So it's that not everyone is just making their own basic shit. You can specialize and trade and then get better and then make better products, and everyone has better products as you're all trading, right? So like the Adam Smith liberal idea of capitalism is that, well, the Taiwanese make better computer chips and the Germans make, I don't know, better cars or something, and you just like pick your country that makes their best stuff, and then just trade that best stuff with you, and you trade your best stuff with them, and so everyone has the best stuff, because America cannot make the best everything in every single market.
Well, okay. Two things. One, why not?
Well, just because of the nature of specialization, right?
But there's 300 million Americans. They're sitting on more resources than the rest of the world fucking combined, practically. Why can't America be the best at everything?
Most of those 300 million Americans are not going to be the best at anything.
That's right. A good proportion of them are. No, Dev. No.
But still, the point is though, is that if you have basically different countries, for whatever reason, they're better at making certain products. I mean, there's a reason why we know like Swiss chocolate over other types of chocolate, right? Because they just make really good fucking chocolate. And so if you have just countries specializing and then trading with each other, that works. And tariffs get in the way of that. So tariffs tend to, devalue the trade. Or so sorry, they don't devalue the trade. Basically, in making trade harder, they make it so that you can't access the best of other civilizations, and that's bad. However, the issue is that the neolibs and the neocons thought that they could liberalize places like China by giving them all of their industry, which is a fucking terrible thing to do. Like, it's actually fine if, for example, France or the UK or Germany or Norway does a thing better than America. And so American companies go to those countries and build up industries and then trade with America because America does things better than those countries. And then they can build up their own industries and then they can specialize in trade. It's fine because these are countries that are politically aligned. You can't do this with countries that are not politically aligned. And the biggest problem with the neolibs is they thought doing it would make the countries more politically aligned, and it didn't. It simply handed a whole bunch of political power over to China, and it was a monumental disaster, right? So I don't think that America should be tariffing everything. You could make an argument that simply for political purposes, you should tariff China. Okay, fair enough, because China fucking sucks, right? And you know what? You should tariff Russia, which, I mean, considering that America is already not trading with Russia anymore over the whole Ukraine war thing, it kind of makes that calculation very simple. It's, I don't know, like, I understand the argument with tariffs, but considering how many people, like how many right-wingers, like 2 years ago, were screaming bloody murder about how the West was no longer trading with Russia. It's like, you can't do this. It's going to be a long, cold winter. Oh no, you're going to tank your own economy just to stick it to the Russians. But now Trump's come out with the tariffs, and the tariffs are going to tank America's economy, stick it to the Chinese. And it's like, what's the fucking difference here, guys? Well, the difference is that it was a left-wing candidate who was suggesting that it before, and now it's a right-wing candidate. So like, it's like, okay, guys, all right. There's no actual fucking analysis here. You guys just being direction-brained and retarded. There's good reasons to restrict trade with China, but there's not good reasons to restrict trade with everyone.
Well, that's where you're wrong, Dev. Because one, we must see the rise of the American empire. And if there's other countries that do things better, America should just steal that technology for themselves and steal their people. Because that is how American empire rises. And secondly, there is a very simple solution to the problem for other countries do things better than us. Tariff treaties. That's how we fix this. Okay, the Germans make better gas chambers, I mean cars. Yeah. And so we simply don't have a tariff on gas chambers, I mean cars. Instead, we put a tariff on food import, for example, from that country. And then we work out deals with various economic zones. Now, the European Union is going to be like, no, we're one single trade bloc. And then America's going to be like, I'm going to stop protecting you militarily. And then the European Union is going, oh no, we'll deal. Simple. Fucking simple. America is in a position where it possesses so much of the world's manufacturing, so much of the world's raw resources, it can absolutely set the pace for these things. And if that means enforcing tariffs upon its various subject nations, then by all means, that is what America probably should do.
Открываю поиск.
I think tariffs should be wielded against enemy nations, not against allied ones.
Up that computer. No, it should be wielded against everybody.
Okay, well, we just disagree on this. So one thing I noticed is that, like, first of all, a lot of the chat does not like the American Empire, the global American Empire, and I'm like, no, that shit's based. Fuck yes, American Empire is awesome.
Absolutely,
yeah, it's good. But secondly, people in the chat are saying that, like, the right wing didn't oppose stopping trade with Russia when Russia invaded Ukraine. Like, did you guys forget, or are you lying? Or the right absolutely did oppose the West stopping trade with Russia when Russia invaded Ukraine. I mean, it was the good thing to do. It was the right thing to do. I'm happy that we did it. But to say that, like, the right wing didn't oppose it 2 years ago is fucking insanity, guys. You do remember that, right, Arch? I'm not just talking out of my ass here.
No, chat. That was, I've been trying to use the Yandex browser, the Russian one, because I hate Google, and it randomly turns itself on and speaks to me in Russian. It's not a good alternative.
Wait, hold on. Okay.
But no, yeah, of course, yeah, people wanted more trade with Russia. Because that made sense when Russia was docile. Because this is the thing, too. Trade can also be used as a way of favoring people. You know, you can set in place tariff agreements and trade agreements that say, okay, Europe, we benefit one another. We advantage one another. Therefore, we are going to give one another privileged access to one another's markets. It might even be free of tariffs. And the thing is, most countries enforce some sort of tariffs upon stuff. Like Norway imports ridiculous amounts of tariffs on food imports because we are trying to protect what little bit of our hobby agriculture we have remaining. America should absolutely do the same. And it should be a simple thing, like, okay, we wish to rebuild the American car industry, which makes a lot of sense. America should have a car industry. It has the resources, it has the manpower, it has the specialization. If that means that it has to protect itself from foreign exports or imports, or export, vice versa, then it should do so. And the countries that it's cooperating with closely should then simply be given advantageous treaties. This also then introduces an economic incentive to join the club. This is why NATO expanded. This is why we invited fucking Turkey and stuff. This is why countries like Romania, Bulgaria, all of these third world nations, and here they are, eventually became westernized because they were like, oh my god, we wouldn't join the European Union. Everyone's rich over there. Yes, because we will slowly extend this economic basis. This can also then be used as a weapon against our competitors, against China, against anyone we disagree with, frankly.
Well, I mean, this is why Ukraine wanted to join that bloc, right? Which is why, like, I know everyone's like, well, Ukraine is just a puzzle, it's just a pawn in terms of the game between America and Russia. It's like, okay, I understand, but like, if you were to go to the Ukrainians and ask them, well, would you rather be aligned with, you know, the European Union and the United States and Canada, Japan, you know, the liberal world, or would you rather be aligned with Russia? The average Ukrainian wants to be aligned with the West. Like, they're on board. They're on board with the Western project at this point. They do not want to be aligned with Russia. You know, I know there's like some coping from like Russia simps out there who are like, they just hate the United States and they blame America for everything, and they're like, no, this is the Ukrainians are being forced into the meat grinder by Biden and the American machine. It's like, no, the Ukrainians want to fight, like they want to resist Russian aggression, but like the Ukrainians want to be part of this world order that you're describing, Arch, and with good reason, because it's the best fucking one that's ever existed.
Yeah, and this is going to cause conflict. That's the thing, too. The Russia situation, Russia is entirely within its right to attempt to defend its sphere of influence. It is the right of every sovereign nation to try to do so, just as it is the right of every sovereign nation to try to enforce their spheres of influence upon other nations. Ukraine has the misfortune of being caught in between two of them, and it's suffering the consequences.
Yeah, I mean, the moral argument is that Ukraine, being a sovereign nation, should be left alone to do what it wants. The practical power argument is that Ukraine's a small nation and it's going to be used, and two nations are going to fight over it. But I mean, yeah, if the average Ukrainian wants to be Western aligned, they don't want to be part of Russia.
Well, there's the thing too. It's like the moral argument. Which moral argument? The liberal moral argument. The liberal world order moral argument.
Yes.
And I disagree with that. I disagree with that part of the argument. I do not believe that nations should be allowed to do whatever the fuck they want, because then what reason do we have to intervene in everybody else's wars? What reasons do we have to look at Iran and go, I don't know if you should have nukes, dude?
Let me think about it for a minute. So the reason is that we are superior people, and we should simply march across the earth and make them like us.
And there you go. Yes.
No, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, there's a balancing act here, right? Because the Ukrainians clearly want to be part of the West.
Yeah.
And insofar as you respect the sovereignty of other countries, then you should respect that. But also respecting the sovereignty of other countries means that when the UAE or Qatar does not want to have gay people in their borders when it comes to the that international soccer match, for example, that happened a couple of years ago, well, that's also their right? Like they don't have to be pro-LGBT and let Americans coming in fly the pride flag during this giant soccer match that happened in 2022 or whatever it was. So that, like, which one of these principles do you abide by? Are you respecting what happens within sovereign borders or not? And this is why when I did my conversation about what are human rights, like what actually are human rights, you know, if rights do come from the state, as civil rights do, then you cannot say that the state is violating your rights. You know, I gave the China Uyghur example, right? If civil rights come from the state, and the Chinese state has decided that the Uyghurs don't have civil rights, then the Chinese state cannot violate those rights. The rights don't exist. Right? So as they brutalize the Uyghur people, you can't say that the rights are being violated. But if there is some sort of like universal standard for which all humans must abide by, regardless of politics, then you can claim that something's being violated there. The issue then becomes, well, where does that standard come from? Right? Religious people have a good answer. It's God. But without God, I mean, you could appeal to like common humanity or something, but that's not nearly as strong, you know?
Cultural imperialism. Simple.
Yeah. And then you could then you could simply say it's power. It's like, well, we have declared.
No, not your power. I better than you. I can demonstrate I better than you.
Well, yeah, it is I better than you, but then you have to ask, you know, by what standard, right? Because it's going to be by your own standard.
No, I'll happily expand.
Yeah, it's going to be by your own standard, and then it just boils down to, well, who can actually enforce that on as many people as possible, right?
There becomes the thing, like. The West lulled itself into this idea that it had become an enlightened people. Like there's a kind of goes back to the point we had earlier. We were like, oh my God, we're so nice, we're so good. We can't boss other people. We have these values that are sacrosanct, whilst being surrounded by people who don't hold the same values. These values should be enforced upon everybody, and then we can all ascend together. There you go. Mm-hmm. And that's why we need the American Empire. Okay? We need the American Empire. And I will either move to America or simply Norway will become a little happy vassal state. I'm okay with this because there's 5 million of us and we'd be bullied by the other nations.
Yeah. So the issue ultimately is that, like, a lot of the progressives forgot that you can have the best morals. And I do think liberals generally do. But it has to be backed up with force. And you can't view yourself as being so moral that you're above force and you become a pacifist. It's not going to work out because then someone will just stomp all over you. You have to be strong and correct. You can't only be one of those two things.
Force is the ultimate authority.
Yes.
I don't know what this had to do with Joe Rogan. Oh, tariffs. Yes. Okay. And then there's the final benefit, which is that tariffs advantage the American people enormously. Right now, America is in a position where it can enforce tariffs, easily so. It has a moral right to do so upon its enemies, and probably a moral right to do so, at least in part, upon its allies as well, to advantage its own people. This would also then increase American manufacturing, and the thing is too, there is absolutely a way for European powers to compete on this. As tariffs doesn't preclude competition, it makes it an even playing field in different circumstances. Norway does not have an agricultural industry worth a fuck because we've choked the life out of it with administration and various regulations. And so we looked at everybody else going and taking all over on our food production and thinking, we're not going to allow that. We need to have our dumb little hobby industry that costs 1,000,000 times more than it tastes. And so we slapped 200% tariffs on the import of cheese, for example. Because it allows us to give a bunch of people in Norway the opportunity to be hobby farmers and drain the wallets of the rest of us. I disagree, and I think that we should round up every farmer in Norway and sink them into the sea, but that is besides the point. The situation that we have is different. America, too, has the right to do this for themselves. And also, if it can get to the point of having zero income tax, I mean, that would be pretty fucking amazing, frankly. Now, bear you in mind, America, this also means that you can't have other things either. Like, this is the free healthcare debate precludes all of this. If you're going to do free healthcare, you're going to be looking at paying half of your income to even begin to hope to pay for that shit. But assuming that the Americans simply wanted to remain by themselves, pay as little as humanly possible, and rely on insurance and one's own acumen to take care of oneself, other than the government, then yes, using tariffs to decrease or even entirely get rid of a federal income tax sounds fantastic to me. Plus, the less money the government has, the less money the government has to waste.
The issue ultimately is that, like, even if I think that politically we should be, punishing China and not being trading with them because I think they're terrible. If you like the fact that you have like $5 t-shirts at Walmart, that's because of China, right? As soon as you start tariffing China and you tariff their biggest exports, like the costs of clothing are going to triple in the United States. The cost of a whole bunch of things, like anything that's made out of plastic, whether it's worthwhile or not, will triple in the United States. Like, tariffs are not just going to be this silver bullet. Your prices will go up massively if you start implementing widespread tariffs.
In the short term, yes. But American manufacturing has no reason not to be able to close that gap, especially not with its ability to begin automating.
I mean, yeah, but even then, if they're automating, then you're not bringing that many jobs back. Like, you bring some jobs back.
I mean,
but
you're still going to need the plants. You're still going to need the industry that supplies the robots, that maintains the robots. You're still going to need the factories. And already America has all kinds of retarded laws and not being allowed to automate everything, which is why you occasionally can see like footage from American factories where they've got a fully automated assembly line, and at the end of the assembly line, there's 20 Mexicans putting bottles in boxes.
Well, sure. I mean, I get it all, but like, the issue with that is that you still have half of the American population with an IQ under 100, right? And it's like, well, what do you do now? What do those people do? What do all of those people do when all of their jobs have been automated away? Bring in plants back to the United States with tariffs does not solve the long-term issue. That most people will find themselves basically useless.
Well, that's a problem we're going to have to face regardless, because automation isn't going to stop at all. It'll just continue. And an increase in joblessness due to a disappearance of traditional labor, that's inevitable. If anything, America should be speeding it up now to get it done, rather than sitting there in 20, 30 years and wondering, why can't we make anything in this country anymore? I mean, already European car industry is moving towards full-scale automation, whereas Detroit is dying.
Detroit might be dying for a completely different reason, though.
Oh, several reasons. Because like that is another and much wider also conversation as well, what to do with unemployed people, because that is going to be a thing. As more and more of manufacturing becomes like because right now we have the ability to manufacture things less effectively because we're not in a cutthroat competition. We can still get the cheap gear and goods from third world countries that are just utilizing manual labor. Once America inevitably enters into a conflict with China, either militarily or economically, all of that is, as you say, going to go away, which is going to leave a lot of people without capital. A lot of people aren't going to be able to buy the things they have, and unless they begin early and with government subsidies to produce a new industry to replace the Chinese industry, then you're going to have a very, very big problem. And eventually, we'll replace all of you with robots. I know this because I'm the one who's going to replace you with robots. Finally, we'll have luxury space communism, and we'll all be happy. We're still a while away from that, but eventually. But don't worry, though,
So
America.
what are the other parts of the Trump-Rogan conversation that we should talk about?
Right, let's see. What other parts was there? So, the war stuff, right? So he visited Kim Jong-un, and he got invited to North Korea. Or the border or something like that, I think. Was he actually in there?
I think so.
Yeah. And this was a bit remarkable because he hadn't want to invite Obama. There was a lot of people expecting that a war was going to be inevitable between North and South Korea. Trump visited, and Kim Jong-un, sat down and kept himself quiet for quite a while there. And the reason that Trump gives to that is that he was able to converse with Kim Jong-un, and Kim Jong-un goes, okay, we have these weapons because we need to defend ourselves, because we don't think that we will be allowed to exist if we didn't have these weapons. And probably, no, unless they have direct Chinese backing. Whereas Trump can then go like, okay, but we don't have any plans to invade your ass. Like, it's not going to happen, so just calm down the rhetoric, and we can coexist. He also mentioned, he alluded to nuking Moscow and Beijing as reasons for why Vladimir Putin didn't do anything under Trump's rule.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and I lend a certain degree of credence to this, just because of the madman in power theory. Like, nobody knows what the fuck Trump is going to do. He has an ability to sell the idea that he's absolutely fucking deranged and actually believes that he might do something like this. And the various powers across the world appears to also think so as well. I mean, the entire notion of America pulling out of the United Nations, or NATO more correctly, for example, that is a constant refrain in European news. Like, America, if Trump wins, America will pull out of NATO. America isn't going to pull out of NATO, because that's where most of its foreign fucking bases are. They have an enormous amount of power projection via NATO, but obviously they're going to use that stick to go, you gotta pay for yourself, motherfuckers. We can't protect you. Although they should.
Yeah, there's two things happening in Europe right now. Like, one of them is we got to build ourselves up because Trump, NATO. The other one, though, is the fact that Russia did invade Ukraine. A lot of European countries are saying, okay, we can't just sit by and let the Americans defend us. We do actually have to have our own militaries again. Like, I know, like, the Germans are rearming, the French are rearming, like. It's taking time, but it is coming back, and it's because of Russian aggression.
Yes. Now, the Germans begin to build an army again is always an interesting point in history.
Yep.
But there are definitely moves towards rearming, and Sweden joining NATO was a big change, because Sweden believed that it could remain neutral throughout the whole Cold War, and that has now finally changed. Like, NATO is more important than ever, and it is a genuinely effective military deterrent that America, of course, is going to use as well. America's position is that it wants NATO to actually start paying for its own defense, as for a very long time, we just didn't. It's technically in the charter that European nations is supposed to be using, I think it was like 2.5% or something, of their total budget on the army, when most of us were using 1% or less, which is a lot of money to spend on other dumb, frivolous shit.
Yep. No, I agree with you on that. There was one guy in the chat who said that America invaded Ukraine and Russia's defending itself. And I'm just like, please tell me where the portal is that leads to the alternate dimension that you are fucking from, dude. You see some wild shit sometimes from people on some of these topics. But yeah, I think like the Eastern Europeans who have, with good reasons, they're wary about Russian aggression, and the Western Europeans who are kind of blind to it. The Western Europeans are like waking up. They're hearing the bell ring now, and they're like, oh shit, yeah, okay, it's time. We cannot simply pretend that, the peace that went from 1990 to like 2010 or whatever it was has continued indefinitely. It has not. The war has come, and to say that, oh, we can't fight it, that's just like Neville Chamberlain shit. It's here. It's happening.
Yeah. Now, like Russia too. Russia decided to take its gamble. It had a president in the White House that it knew how was going to respond. So it decides, okay, we're going to blitzkrieg Ukraine. We're going to beat the country and we're going to have it conquered within a month. That was the original intent of the plan. Unfortunately for Putin, his military was fucking incompetent and failed to do that, and now they're on their second, closing on fucking third year or something of war. And Russia has been bled dry of manpower and materiel in what for the West has become an absolute fucking windfall of a proxy war. In fact,
yeah.
Because with a resurgence of Western nationalism and the idea that we are heading towards being able to and willing to enforce our will upon other nations again, I wouldn't be so surprised if Russia wasn't a country in 50 years' time. Instead, finally, we'll see Novgorod again. Ah, my little Novgorod, I've missed you.
So... oh man, there's a lot here, because you keep hearing in the Western media like, oh no, it's escalating. You can't escalate. We have to make sure that this war doesn't escalate. Russia's already escalated it, right? Like there's North Koreans that are now fighting in Ukraine. There's Iranians that are now fighting in Ukraine. Russia is calling in favors. Russia has escalated this war continuously this whole time, regardless of what the West has done or has not done. Five lines in the sand have been crossed already. This idea that there's anything that can be done on the West side except fight this war is ridiculous.
Yes, but well, we that's the thing. We don't have to fight it. We just have to continue the proxy war, because I don't think that a couple divisions of North Koreans is going to really help out that much, honestly.
Well, actually, a bunch of them defected. They just like,
of course.
As soon as they left North Korea, they were deployed, and then they just like surrendered to the Ukrainians and said, "Don't send us back."
Well, of course. If I was North Korean, I'd be signing up right now. We're like, yes, I can go to the West. Fuck yeah. But that was Russia's gamble, because Russia knew that it was being surrounded. If Russia lost Ukraine as well, it basically had no eastern border left. Its only nation over there would be Belarus.
Belarus, yeah.
Yeah, they'd be fucked. They had to do something or see the crumbling of the empire. And they would have to just, face the fact that they were now a second-grade power. Putin didn't want that. Putin decided to roll the dice. Putin has lost that bet. And if the West decides to start getting really asshole-ish, I'm thinking the breakup of Russia, which is something we should have done after the end of the Cold War, mind you, is probably in the cards. Hopefully so. I want to see Muscovy.
Yeah, maybe.
I want to see Novgorod. I want to see the little nations again. Georgia.
Independent Siberia.
Yes. I mean, we need Georgia back. We've already got, I think Kazakhstan and stuff. We need more of them.
So when it comes to the podcast itself, and Trump said, "I'll have that war finished as president-elect before even getting into office," I think that's just bluster on Trump's part. I know that Trump's even assuming that Trump's "I will nuke Moscow" threat was a real threat, and he actually said it, the fact that the war has now begun and has now been ongoing for years Trump will not be able to put the genie back in the bottle with one idle threat.
Well, that's an interesting choice of words there, Dev. Idle threat.
So hold on. Are you saying that Trump will actually go to Putin and say, if you do not withdraw back to the Ukrainian border, I will nuke Moscow, and then follow it up?
Well,
Are
no,
you saying he'll do that?
I think he'll try to negotiate. I think he'll try to make both Zelensky and Putin bend the knee by some sort of compromise settlement. I think that is what he will try first. Now, whether or not he can get that through is difficult to say, because I guarantee you Europe is going to get up on their hind legs and go like, no, bad Americans, you can't do that. You can't tell Ukraine to give up some of their land for peace. And a lot of Americans are going to be dissatisfied with that as well. Like, that is going to be the primary problem, is that Trump is not going to have a unified force behind him. Because if he did, he could very much so at this point say, okay, Russia, you're going to have to stop this shit, or we're going to start enforcing shit on you. Not just trade embargoes, which do diddly dick fucking nothing. They have historically done diddly dick fucking nothing. But things like no-fly zones, or sending in military forces and declaring little American republics in there. They've already done this in Syria. Like, the U.S. Army still maintains, like, little enclaves, basically, in Syria, alongside allied forces, where they basically say, like, this is America. If you shoot at it, we're going to shoot at you.
Based.
Like, the US absolutely has the power to end this war, but the question is if it has the unity to do so, and it would mean the deployment of troops. Like, Putin isn't going to back down on a threat at this point. I do believe that. But if, 7 divisions of US troops emerge in Estonia and then throw up a no-fly zone,
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the issue is that, like, I have seen, and this is unconfirmed, so I'm not just going to pin this to Trump and say that he wants to do this, but I have seen rumors that Trump's plan is basically just give the Russians everything, where basically all the land that Russia's taken will become actually part of Russia, and Ukraine will not join the West. It will not join NATO. It will not join, like, it will not, like, link hands with the EU or anything like that. And, like, that would just be cucking out to Russia. That would just be giving them absolutely everything they want, and then the West gets nothing that it wants, right? It's like, well, you didn't really do anything then, did you? You just gave up. You just rolled over. If there was, like, a demilitarized zone, and Ukraine gave up, bitterly, it would have to be bitterly, but Ukraine just gave up the sovereignty of the territories it's lost. But then Ukraine joined the West, then that might actually be a decent compromise. But the one plan that I heard is basically Trump gives the Russians everything they want, and then just does not even promote the West position at all. And it's like, well, that would suck if that happened.
I'd be surprised if he'd do that, because it would make him seem very weak.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think he'll do that either. It's something that I hear floating around, but it's not confirmed, so I'm not going to put any stock in it. It's just one possibility.
Because there's absolutely things the US can do here, and things that do not necessarily involve ground wars either. Like, the US air power could very much so make itself known in this case. There is also the potential for promising things, like NATO membership to Ukraine, for example, which would be a very big deterrent, which would also be difficult to get through because NATO would have to agree, you'd have to change the charter, etc. And it's not something they would do on their own. They would have to be a part of a larger agreement and so on. And Zelensky is currently asking for that, but it's never going to be granted unless it's part of a larger idea and settlement, because that would, of course, mean that NATO would be at war with Russia, which NATO is not going to accept. But it's also possible that he simply calls up Putin and I'm going to start nuking Moscow. At which point, it's up to Putin to call the bluff, I guess.
I wonder what's left. A lot of it's just UFC. it was a good conversation. I enjoyed watching it. Like it was entertaining. But yeah.
They did talk about the UFC a bit.
Yeah.
They touched upon the 2020 election fraud claims, but they didn't really. Like, Trump is like, okay, I've got documents. I'll come back one day and I'll show you. And Joe is like, hey, can I have an example? And Trump's like, your head is really shiny, Joe. And then they kind of moved on.
Well, I mean, that is a weak topic for Trump for like 18,000 different fucking reasons. So that wasn't going to be anything they ever actually talk about. Oh, yeah, Tidge is right. They spoke about UFOs. That's right.
Well, UFOs.
Yeah.
What was it? Trump said that there's no reason not to think Mars has life, which doesn't mean little green men. It means bacteria.
Yeah.
Um,
I was hoping that Trump would reveal all the Area 51 secrets, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm. They did talk about some reports about things, phenomenon from pilots and stuff that apparently was really fast and stuff that he didn't really want to talk about. And like that is one thing. I do hope that if Trump gets into power this time around, he actually does all of the shit he's been saying. Like he releases all of the cool documents, like the Epstein Black Book stuff, or the like all of it. Let's just start unclassifying everything. Just hand out like a blanket declassification to absolutely everything. Which is going to get a lot of American spies killed, probably, but hey, details. Can't make an omelet without cracking a few eggs and all that. But I don't think the Area 51 has any aliens hanging about. I'd be very surprised. I mean, the US fucked up protecting their own new stealth bomber from fucking observation by Google satellites. I don't believe the United States government is competent enough to hide aliens from us.
Yeah, this is why, like, I don't know. There are so many people who hold these contradictory opinions on the competency of the government, where the government is so incompetent it can't be trusted with anything. Everything always falls apart. Private industry always does things better. But also the government is so hyper competent that they're able to rig everything, and they have shadow elections and shadow governments, and they're puppeteering everything across the globe, and like basically everything is rigged against them, but you never find proof of it because they investigated themselves and found nothing wrong. And like, listen. Either they're hyper competent or they're incompetent. You can't hold both of these positions at once.
Yeah. So I don't think they're hiding little grey men from us, and I don't think Trump would be able to keep still about it if they were either. So, well, I guess we'll see about that. But that's mostly most of it. They did fangasm over USC for a while, but I don't care. USC is a silly sport.
Okay, so in the chat, different departments do different things, Dev. It can be both. The government is not some uniform hive mind. Okay, this is another contradictory opinion, because whenever I've talked about the different levels of government coming back with different things, people have always said, people like in your chat who I've argued with, they always go like, the government has investigated themselves and found nothing wrong. Like the government is all one giant entity, but it's not. That's why that very pithy phrase, the government has investigated itself and found nothing wrong, that is ultimately a false phrase. Because power is distributed between the executive and the legislative and the judicial, and also on different levels, local, state, and federal in the United States. Like, you can't simply say that it's all one thing, it's all the government, and therefore they're all just covering for each other. But then also at the same time, claim that different departments do different things, and the government is not some uniform hive mind. You can't hold both of those opinions at the same time either.
I think the chat's answer to that would simply be, watch me, Dev.
Watch me be incoherent. It's okay, I'm used to it at this point.
Yeah, I get to the little super chats as well.
I'll be back in a minute.
All right. Anthony, they started arresting the PDFs in Hollywood. They are not recruiting kids anymore. You sure they started arresting them? We'll see. Sandum, no lum lum. Guess no new fetish of the week. Sad. I know, it's a bit tragic, but we are going to have Rima on once a month from now on. So we will have Rimming with Rima, which is what I'm going to call that segment. That'll be fun. You can talk about horses with her. That'll be fun. Barry Brucer. I thought the VTuber Corpo connection was sort of a trade between helping with growth and merch at the cost that money goes to the Corpo. Plus, girls can now legally defend themselves without exposing their real identities. To an extent, yes. For the larger corporations, that's true. But the overwhelming majority of the the corporate VTuber things, the small ones, they can't really do much of any of this. They can't help you with growth because they don't have any connections. They don't know anything you don't. They can't really help you with merch beyond calling up the merch producer and going like, hey, could I have 50 t-shirts of feet, please? And they can't really defend them either because, well, it's not like they're millionaires that have, the ability to foot legal fees. But the big ones, sure, yes. Mercy Next 21. Oh, Dev, the incoming storm will sure surprise you. And Newton's having his fit. I try to describe storm. Dev, why being anti-Trump when come on, is this? It is because Dev is of the opinion that Trump has committed a heinous crime by copying the Democrats, in essence. Talk about 4-hour Dev video. That's next week. I will have Buckymus debate Dev on his video, on his anti-Trumpian Trump stole election thing video. And I am just going to lean back and I'm going to watch the cat and the dog tear each other apart. That's my plan. Squishy Blue, artwork idea. Due to the resemblance, Art is a Chief Judge Cal. Lumi as Department Chief Judge Fish for obvious reasons. And Dev as Grampus the Clag. I don't know these characters.
Neither do I. Any questions for me, by the way? And any of the super chats?
Not yet. Silver Commodore 78, there we go. iDev's latest video. 4.5 hours was impressive. Even more so because he never changed his diaper the whole time he was making it.
It was 3 hours and 47 minutes, actually.
Yeah, it's 4 hours. It was way too long, Dev. Bad Dev. You should have split that into at least 6 videos, because nobody's going to watch that shit. I watched that shit. You know why, Dev? Because I'm your friend. But even I had a hard time, dude.
It's one of those things where it's like, if I only did one part of it, people would say, look at all the things Dev missed. And it's like, that's clearly in the next part. In fact, here's the thing. It's already going to be a 3-part series of videos that are all about that length. And people have already in the comments said, look at these things that Dev missed the Pennsylvania situation. It's like, no, I didn't. That's in the next part. Like, so I wanted to minimize that as much as possible by putting it all in one video. And if people are too ADHD brain to actually watch the whole thing, that is their fault, not mine.
But Dev, if you were splitting it up regardless, why not split it up to multiple things? Just release one video a day.
Because this was like a natural place to split it up. Because there's 3 of them. There's the Eastman memo, and then there's the January 6th riot, and then there's the actual claims of voter fraud in 2020, like where people say that, the Democrats stole 2020. Well, the Democrats didn't actually steal 2020. I'm going to go over all those claims, but it was a natural trilogy, basically.
So basically, you're going to recreate the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yes,
but why?
But yeah, like if you think that at this point, if you genuinely think that the Democrats rigged 2020, you haven't paid attention to any sort of updates on any sort of evidence or any sort of you haven't watched anything, because it's like I said, Arch, you and I were there that night and we said something fishy's going on, and then we saw the videos of the case of ballots underneath the table. It's like that doesn't look right. But most people who still think 2020 was rigged, they're holding on to that knee-jerk first reaction they had that night that you and I both experienced. But if you actually look at these situations, no, it wasn't rigged. There's actually evidence for all of these things.
There's evidence for all of the fixing.
There's evidence that it was not actually fixed.
I see. Good, Dev. Evidence for lots of fixing.
There is evidence that it was not fixed, that 2020 was a legitimate election, and I'll put it in a video. Yeah.
Mr. X21, no, she is either a body double or an AI robot. Kamala? Probably Kamala.
Probably Kamala, yeah.
Probably not an AI robot. AI is far cleverer. Solar Commando 78. Dev's next video will be 17 hours and will be about how everyone should wear diapers and why wearing diapers makes him superior to those who use toilets. Mr. Personality, Kamala's problem is the cocaine. Again, I think she'd be more interesting if she was on cocaine. The Sober Viking. What place is the Deathclaw now? The Dick Girl Deathclaw waifu is on 5th place. She is slowly being pushed further down the list, chat. Good job. Dethrone the Deathclaw Dick Girl waifu, please. So on the list, been member for 21 months. Thank you very much, sir. Rogan got evil carrot-colored person on before Devon released the Truckers video. Suffer, Dev. That is true. Trucker
Listen,
video, man.
If that election does get called, you'll see the Trucker video.
Mercenaries 21. No matter who wins, military will be on the streets. Yeah, that's probably true. Democrats win. The Republicans aren't going to take it well. Republicans win. Democrats aren't going to take it well.
Yep.
Massive Dog 1. Don't forget, get Brett. Kamala is Brat. Don't forget, get Brat. Kamala is Brat. Brat?
Yeah, there's some sort of meme floating around about Kamala Harris being a brat. I don't know. Honestly, I don't pay attention to Kamala spaces because Kamala's fucking insufferable. I think she's a terrible candidate.
John Callan. Jonathan Shapiro is a Justice Dems. Won't vote for a J. There's a J Dems. Vote for a J. Meh. Mercenary Simon. Sorry, Dev, but you're dead wrong and you will find out soon. Dumb Dev.
Apparently, here's the thing, right? Like, people say that I have Trump derangement syndrome. It's like, okay, well, what in the video is actually factually incorrect? Haven't gotten an answer on that yet. Lots of people like crying and complaining and whining. Lots of people scream about how I'm evil and I'm lying and I've left out things. Okay, what did I leave out? I ask people, what did I leave out? And they'll say, well, they might say the Pennsylvania law change. It's like, okay, but that's going to be in the next video. I even said in the video that I'm doing that next. So what else? Is there anything in the video that I made that was actually false? Not a single fucking person has pointed out one thing. Oh. There's a lot of screaming, there's a lot of crying, there's a lot of copium, but not a single person has actually pointed out anything that I got wrong.
I think one of my moderators was compiling a 12-page document on this, so I guess...
Well, I guess we'll see.
You can't expect people to have it just yet. Is it 5 fucking hour video, Dev? It's long.
It's 3 hours, 47 minutes. No, I had that conversation with Artemis, though, and even Artemis, like... His logic fell apart in the end as well, right? And we'll talk about that next week, I guess, because he'll be coming back. But like Artemis's logic was that everything that the January 6th committee found has to be discarded, no matter how relevant or how accurate it is, because Nancy Pelosi wouldn't let Jim Jordan and Jim Banks sit in the committee. And it's like, well, McCarthy could have put up other pro-Trump Republicans like Troy Nehls, who was accepted, that weren't being investigated by that very same committee. And Artemis said, well, I mean, Nancy didn't say that was her reason for kicking them off. It's like, okay, but she doesn't have to, is the point.
Bucky v. Dev, next week, same time, same channel.
See, like here, Dev says, this guy here says, you're outright lying, Dev. What am I lying about? What's the lie?
They will be allowed to fight each other. With weapons.
Chat, say what I lied in a super chat.
Only one will leave. Probably not, but it sounds better that way. Massive Dog, let's hope the government doesn't hire any more bridge hires. Well, probably not on Trump, I would imagine. Danny D, nature abhors a vacuum. Power vehemently abhors a vacuum. That it does. Which is why also people want to fill it.
Mm-hmm. Which is why you need you need power to enforce neutrality from outsiders that want to make the space not neutral, which means that they have to be like someone who has both power but also the ideological commitment to neutrality, which is possible. It's just not common right now.
Cuban 922. Kamala is the epitome of a DEI in politics. She does look it. Dalton's 79 1000.
Hold on. Wasn't Kamala like she identified primarily as Indian American, and now she's identifies primarily as Black American?
Yes.
I understand I understand that you have both Indian and Black heritage ethnically. I get it, but like the fact that you're switching so much is like, okay, guys, all right, I get it. I know what you're doing.
She needs to fit in, Dev, depending on where she is that day. Dalton, 79 1000. Viva Arch, thanks for the continual hard work. Thank you very much, sir. Raven's been a member for 10 months, thank you. Not sure what's worse, the Deathclaw or Naked Dev. Well, you can donate to Naked Dev if you so choose. You too can have a Naked Dev to look at if you want to. I don't know who I'm going to get to make Naked Dev yet. But if Naked Dev wins, rest assured, I will have him painted. Even if I'll need to use a larger canvas. Sandoom, Deathclaw goal for the calendar, cause funny, and it needs one proper monster goal. Also, when did Dev escape the gulag? You've been keeping him in Arch. Well, when he finished his ginormous little video, that's why.
Now, last week I was on EFAP, and the week before that I was sick.
That's right. You went on EFAP sick, but not on ArchCast sick. I will remember this.
Listen, I was mostly well at that point. I had gone through most of the sickness.
Rationale. Excuses. Hello, I'm in Ireland, so Trump talking tariffs scares our parasitic political class like crazy. I think Euro countries being so dependent on US corps has been disastrous. Yes, we should have built our own, but our socialist nation was not able to produce any corporate entities.
Oh, here's an interesting question from Adam Unfriended. He just joined for member for 11 months. Dev, any updates on the Mike Z and Skullgirls lawsuit? I'm not interested in the voter fraud. Okay. The last I looked at the Mike Z and Skullgirls lawsuit was back in August, and they were waiting for like another court date. It's one of those things where like, because it's not really like it's a court case that's being followed, and frankly it's not that important. They keep like, they have a date and they set like, they do like some procedural thing, and then they set a date for like 2 months later, then they do it again. And like, I have been looking back at it, but it just seems to be the case that like they're working through the procedural motions and they'll eventually get their day in court. So like, it was supposed to be March, it got pushed to June, it got pushed to August, and like they'll get there eventually.
Massive Dog One, you think Barron is advising Trump in social media related things? If this goes on, Trump might get interviewed by VTubers. Advising as in, hey dad, do this, then yes. Advising as in an official capacity, probably not. Haunting in Dev's walls spoke thickly. Tell Dev to ignore the loud grinding sounds. I am going to be doing a thing.
All right.
Solnich, Dev engaging in conspiracy theories. No government told him to interpret the super chat. Stop trying to connect the pieces of information, Devon.
What?
I
don't understand. All right.
Dev is connecting dots. Creaky Chair, hello Arch, I've been watching your work since the first Ogre Kingdom video. Are you ever going to make a video about Hushut? Didn't I? Didn't I do that? Did I? I think I talked about him in the Chaos Dwarf video. I'm unsure now if I've done a video on Hushut. I think I might have. Because Hushut is a neato cheeto little dude. But he doesn't have too much of a lore to him, honestly. He's just like God of Fire. Spelting. Stream Troll Mike, I have an idea. Let's become authoritarian, postmodern subversive centrists. Why should the left and right have all the fun, lol? I agree. We should. We should wield power to the same degree as the left. And eventually we'll overreach, and then we can calm it back down again. But we'll have a few years of rampant excess before then, I think. Turkify, an organization can't learn its way out of leftism. As long as a single leftist remains in power or near it, the leftist will reinforce leftism. They need only start small. I don't think so. I think as long as we make the ideology of leftism unpalatable, I think that will do the job in and of itself. Basically, you will have the tyranny of enforced neutrality, of shame. Whereas today, if you go to a corporation and go like, "You're not racist, are you?" The corporation feels the need to start excusing itself. Like, "No, of course not. And then you have to give money to me." Whereas if we manage to turn that entire culture into a net negative, then the corporation will get away from just hurting the man, firing him, and people will cheer. That is the point we need to arrive at. We need to arrive at the point where the accusation of being a leftist is equal to the accusation of being a racist in 2010. Antelope, liberal supremacy, yes. And this type of colonialism immoral. Unless they are willing to try and do it themselves like Japan or Ethiopia, you should help them. Yes, help them by colonizing them. Listen, we don't need Congo, but we do need more Norway. Axiom Seraph. Epigenetics has shown there are genes that don't even express in phenotypes until you encounter certain stressors. Genes and environments are both important. Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's a combination factor of all of these things. The environment has an effect upon how people evolve. The genes have an effect on how people evolve. Both of these things and all of these things together are true at the very same time. And ignoring part of it is dumb. Mr. Personality, Overwatch 2 was cracked in 3 days. There you go. The nouveau, not too effective. Mercenex21, no dev, you're wrong. Again, get rid of all income tax. I agree, get rid of all income tax. Taxes in general, actually. You know what? Okay, you know what? Get rid of income tax. Put a purchase tax instead. I am far more willing to put a purchase tax on things than an income tax, because at the very least, then I have to buy something first. I have to actually use the money, rather than being forced to give up a part of the money I earn with nothing in return. Ebenezer, 1690. We've fought with many men across the seas, and some of them was brave and some was not. The Pathan and the Zulu and Burmese, but the Fuzzy was the finest of the lot. Kipling, New England Yankee. Ah, Rudyard Kipling. Counterstructure. Biggest story is publishers, including EA and Capcom, are dropping de nouveau even in old games. Good.
Yeah, it's now become like one of those names that no one wants to hear.
Good. That's what we need. We need to apply the mark of the beast. Zerifan, so Dev, are you going to bow down to Bucky because you put a political ad for Kamala around the election after saying there are no good options?
I didn't put a political ad for Kamala around the election.
Also,
that video, I don't even think I mentioned Kamala once in that video, actually.
Also, Dev, these companies who have been sucking off the left for years aren't neutral retards. They're just lying low and still doing the same things. They're just not announcing it. They need bankruptcy.
Well, as I said, it is at least a step in the right direction. If we are at the point where you can't openly be a partisan in some of these institutions because it's too unpopular, good. That's how it should be.
We need to persecute the left. Antelope. We used to be the best in everything. America was the greatest industrial power of the world in agriculture, factory production, and resource extraction. And then, you cocked. Now look at you. Now look at you, Antelope. Anthony. Dev, we are getting cheap stuff from China, not the best from around the world, so tariffs the fuck out of them. I agree. Tariffs are good. Tariffs are our friend. Shadowfox2300, and we have Dev, the globalist shill, and plus that will tie us to another country, and that is the wrong thing to do, because what happens when that country turns against us? Norway will not turn against you. Norway will be loyal. So long as you are loyal to Norway. That's next anyone. 10-4, Ariel as an American, no American empire. No, American empire good. Your taxpayer money is intended to protect me from the Russians. And if you disagree, you're wrong. Simple
So
as.
just out of curiosity, when that person said I'm a globalist shill, like what do you mean by that? And two, how am I that?
Oh, you take money from the left.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
I've heard that. I know like Scrump pushed that for a very long time, and it's like it slowly started to become a thing. That like I got some of the Brianna Wu bucks from a Progressive Victory. No, I never saw a dime for any of that.
You just did it for free? What the fuck, Dev?
Yep.
You sure, though?
Mm-hmm.
You sure? Because personally, I'd think more of you if you did take money, because at least then you'd be paid for it, you know? Come on, Dev. At
Nope,
least a
I
little
spoke to Brianna Wu for free. The only thing I got was my own super chats on my own stream.
Ah, Dev, this disappoints me somewhat. You should at least take some advantage of being the Little Red Bridge. There's so much financial benefit to be had, and yet you take advantage of none of it.
Hold on. Speaking of taking advantage of finances, Cloud Reed for €5. Dev, opinions on Tali Zora from Mass Effect. Your answer may redeem you in my eyes. Budimus has the wrong opinion on this. Can you do better? Yeah, I think Tali's the best girl in the Mass Effect series. I always go Tali, 100%.
Tali is a good
even
girl.
like I've played Mass Effect modded so that I can date Tali as Femshep because I always go Tali.
Tali is a good girl. It is true. But Tali has fallen off the list, chat. Tali is no longer secure. You must save Tali.
Oh, wait. Okay, Lifu, if you remember who Lifu is. She showed me this. Apparently there's like a new Mass Effect card game that has come out. And it has pronouns for all of the cards, for all the character cards. And Liara is she, they.
Yep. Because of course she is.
Oh, fuck. God damn it.
Also, chat, Starlight Glimmer isn't on the calendar yet either. Put Starlight Glimmer on the calendar, you little shits. It is very, very important. Baron von Stargard. The Joe Rogan interview was fascinating as an episode of Joe Rogan, but it was absolutely a bit of a softball. Side note, gonna shill my Puck and Shop web novel Oaths and Empires at Baron von Stargard Substack.com again. Vladiana Milze for calendar. Vladiana 2 is not doing as well. We need more people on the calendar. Chat needs to do more for the human representation. And since I am not like Dev, and I will actually, take sponsorship money properly, I'll show that up there. That's Substack? Can I see a thing there? There you go. Is that a thing? That's probably a thing. He gives me money, which means that he's a good person. Which is the ideology that Dev should have adopted, but no.
What ideology? What are we talking about?
Nolly, so you guys would be fine with America enforcing statehood on you then? Well, fuck yeah. What do you mean? I get to live in America and be still in Norway? That would be great. We'd have lots of oil, we'd have a high living standard, we'd get to live over here in the pretty country. This sounds great. I'd pay less taxes. There is nothing but benefits to me. Okay? The only advantages Norway have over America is our vast amount of personalized wealth, which we'd still be able to maintain as a state. In fact, a state sounds better than a vassal nation. Yes, I like this. Massive Dog 1, is Trump Caesar or Domitian? Caesar, definitely. Considering how many people has already tried to stab him in the back, definitely a Caesar. Cloud Reed, against Dev's argument on tariffs, if the whole world was one country, would it do nothing well? If you split the US into 51 countries, would they specialize into 51 things? More countries do not make better stuff, and Dev is retarded, like Adam Smith. Cruel.
No, because that logic still actually does work with each state, though. So like there are differences in the population centers in the United States for making there's a reason that for a while American-made cars did come from Detroit and not just everywhere, because, well, different populations do different things differently. So yeah, even in a nation that's really big, like the United States, the effect still applies among its constituent parts. The issue with tariffs ultimately is that you still want the ability to get foreign nations good products. Now, if you're going to tariff someone, it's like I said, you should be tariffing your enemies, because your enemies are your enemies, and what they offer you economically is not made up for by the fact that they're your enemies.
Cloud Reed, you're wrong, Dev. 2020 was rigged. I know it because it came to me in a dream. And it's a better source than I've seen.
That is the only source that exists for it, in fact.
I like it, though. I like it. Dreams have often been considered to be portents of future events, Dev. Cuban 922, I support an American empire. If we force every other nation to be an American state, they will live under our laws and our constitution. America's flag will fly everywhere. No other flags. Global 2A. Yes. Yes. Nolly, give this and my last to Starlight Glimmer, 20 in all. I don't think your countries would comfortable, no would mind ruling over the world either. I don't know about that. I think Norway would be very comfortable ruling over the world. Happy even, I think. Content, pleased with itself. And finally, some more to Starlight Glimmer, Best Pony. We need to give Best Pony more of our money, chat. So, John, every metric, second and third world views are inferior. The Middle East needs to be classed. You can't save them. Well, you don't know. We haven't tried yet. We gotta try. We gotta really try. Gotta give it 200 years of colonialism, and if it doesn't work, then maybe.
That's pretty based, actually. Yes.
Boog, thoughts on Trump's and Rogan's end time comments? I don't think I don't know.
Wait,
Yeah.
did they say something about the end times, like the apocalypse?
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
I don't remember that part of it.
I don't remember. Load comes to Martin, and for 21 months, thank you. It's almost as if making a massive cultural change requires some growing pains, Dev. Correct, Dev. Sacrifices must be made, Dev.
Sure. But if that's the case, then you can't keep complaining about prices going up. Like, listen. If the argument is we want tariffs to rebuild the American economy, and we're willing to pay for prices to go up to do it, well, okay then. Well, then you're willing to pay then you're okay with prices going up, and just say that. So stop sewing out about prices going up.
Mercy X anyone? For Ariel, I desperately want 1,000% everything tariffs. Yes. Squishy Blue, another Dread-related one. Most people don't have the capacity for creativity. When automation becomes standard, life will be like Megacity 1. 90% of people will just watch TV, the rest will do crime. Probably, yes. Although I think the unemployment rate will be lower because we're basically going to transition over onto a service economy. There's going to be a lot more whores in the future, both of the social and physical variety. Car forever. Make Romanovs great again, Arch. Yes. We need many, many small Russias, not one big Russia. Well, Hayton, if you have a big military, don't be timid with it. Yeah, you're paying for it. Use it. It's a stick. Wield it. It's your natural child instinct when you see a stick shaped like a sword. It is to wield it. That is a good instinct. Lord comes a Spartan. The government is hyper-competent when it comes to preserving its own power. They don't care about everything else. Canadian bootlicker. Bootlicker.
Yeah, that's not true, but I'm not going to convince you, so.
Honestly, Dev, haven't you learned you are always wrong? I'm struggling with that one.
Yeah, every once in a while, there'll be people who say, listen, Dev, it doesn't actually matter what you're saying. We just don't like you. And it's like, thank you. I appreciate the honesty. None of this weird cope shit about twisting yourselves into pretzels, contradicting your previous opinions just to get one over on. You just don't like Dev. Okay, I get it. Dev derangement syndrome. It's a real thing. And Arch, even you know it's the case because you said it yourself.
I like the Bayes Cope video where you're like, I am constantly updating my opinion. Oh, Dev, you're just a little dum-dum. It's okay.
Listen, Arch. You need to stop saying different things in private than you say on the show.
I can predict where the ball is on the first try, Dev. I don't need multiple balls. Next 81 for Ariel. You two really underestimate the Khazarians. Khazarians? Khazarians? I don't know. Who are the Khazarians? I don't know. Somebody. Zero, I'm late. What did I miss? Loved the Rogan stream. Many things. Many fun things. Many good things. A little bit of Rhodesia. Jackson Kai. It's perfectly possible to be good at one thing and nothing else, like that woman who has been squatting for 30 years that went viral. You can be a good soldier and a bad leader. Gaslight harder, Dev. Bad Dev.
What did I do this time?
I don't know. Gaslighting. A local bird brain. If the government were to invest large amounts into staff and material for intelligence military, but low amounts into things like infrastructure, they can be competent at some things, but not others. That is true. But I still don't think the US military is competent enough to hide aliens from us either. Again, they couldn't hide their latest fucking bomber. They couldn't hide their fighter aircraft. They could barely hide their fucking tanks or small arms. Little fuckers aren't that intelligent. Why Hayden, the West forgotten humans are confrontational. They are. But that's why we put them all under one flag and make them confront each other in more limited fashions. Mercenary X21, Ariel. Dev, you will be proven wrong about 2020 voting. Ariel, I'm not talking about TDS. Dev, you just don't know. It will be revealed. The truth will emerge.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Zero, it was a good video, but was normal politics to me. Don't worry, it will be less normal politics when Dev and Artemis fight over who's right. That'll be funny. It'll be blood sports again. The good old days, Dev, when people yelled at each other on the internet. Belial, Dev has TDS and copes because people with Dev derangement syndrome won't shut up about Dev. It's a vicious circle. Dreyfie, any truth to the idea that Kamala was pulling a Monica Lewinsky her way up the ranks before becoming VP, or was that all just meaningless rumors? I have no idea. The less I know about Kamala Harris's sex life, the better.
I've heard a bit about that. Apparently, she, earlier in her career, she might have done some sucky to get up there.
Man, people value blowjobs way too highly. Like, they're not that expensive, trust me. It's okay. You don't have to promote somebody for them.
Really, Arch?
Of course. Like, there's plenty of whores in America, Dev. I'm pretty sure you could find somebody that would be cheaper than a government promotion. My God. People are paying way too much for this. It's not that valuable a commodity, American politicians. Just do a drive down a deserted street in the middle of the night. I'm pretty sure you can pick one up for considerably cheaper. Mercenary 1. Ariel, I'm presuming. Kamala's family does indentured servitude. As in, they are indentured servants, or they have slaves?
I don't know, man. Yeah, chat. Listen, way back in the day, Kamala Harris dated fucking Montel Williams, okay?
I don't know who that is.
He was a talk show host in the States in the 90s. It's like before her political careers took off.
Talk show host. Mm.
Yeah. Like a Jerry Springer type. Pretty much the same quality, just a black guy.
Well, at least she was dating within her... No, I'm not going to say that on YouTube.
He's Indian, so it's not within her.
Shit. Belial, also here's $5 to add femboyage to the calendar with a beard. Grumbles. Ripov Productions LLC. Russia's failure in Ukraine burned a vast chunk of respect/fear they inherited from the Soviets in the minds of Westerners. We all expected Russian Desert Storm and got Dusty Fart instead. Yes, we did.
Wait a second. Hold on just a second, guys. Hold on, I gotta think about this for a minute. Sorry, go ahead, Arch. I just got a brain blast with something.
A brain
blast.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, a brain blast. Listen. You guys who are voting for this calendar, Do we have Xeno-loving Arch on the calendar?
We don't have many arches. We have a chibi arch somewhere.
Arch with his Xeno girlfriend?
Nope, we only have a chibi arch.
Come on, Arch, you gotta bring the Xenos back.
Oh, Chad decides what's on the calendar. So the Commander 78, Dev's favorite book is The Diaper of Rationality.
Oh my god. Stop trying to make the diaper thing a thing.
No, don't. It's kind of good. It's catching on slowly. So to find water, the power of the American Empire is nobody but the corrupt oligarchy, and Israel actually benefits from its vassals Europe. Japan gets its inflation, and the third world slaves just get fucked. And also, the American people don't really benefit either, since our standard of living just goes down. Also, Dev, the whole point of Ukraine joining NATO is to point nukes at Moscow to break them up. But here's the thing. The long-term benefits of colonialism is further down the line. You're going to have to sacrifice a lot to begin with to establish your colonies. Colonies generally weren't profitable, okay? But in the future, you will have more pretty little places and fewer people coming into your country. It's a long-term benefit, Zero Firewater.
That's good for us.
Yes. It's very good for me. Marked ashamed. Hashut is the true god of the Dark Mechanicus, not Vashtor. Vashtor is just the big four-minders believing the false promise he will be elevated to god. I like the idea of Hashut being the Dark Mechanicus god, yes. Cloudreed, hey Dev, opinions on Tali's Order from Mass Effect. Oh, you didn't remember that one.
Yep, I did that one already.
Frog Jupiter, Dev, as the resident Pokemon expert, have you heard about the Typhlosion allegations? Also, Arch,
Yes, I have.
if you move to America, CA 8.3.5 cents, sales tax, Texas 8.25. I'd probably move to Texas, honestly. Sounds fun.
So, did you hear? You must have heard about the Pokemon Typhlosion thing.
Yes, but another translation came out recently that the girl was not as young as it was implied in the original one, and it wasn't all apparently written by a woman, so.
Okay. Well.
Still, Typhlosion likes to fuck women, and he creates human children now, which is good. This has many implications.
Pokemon lore is crazy, guys.
Andrew Schmidt, here is 5 for Dev being a good sport. Now that said, Dev, stop being communist.
Okay, done.
Now, it does explain a lot of things, though. Okay, listen to this here. So, you know how the Pokemon champions switch out, like, every year?
Yeah.
Well,
You can all get fucked.
Yeah, because that makes no sense. If you've got a dude who's the best Pokemon trainer in the world one year, why is he a shitter Pokemon trainer the next year?
Well,
Why? Did his Pokemon fall off?
I have to give you the nerd Pokemon answer since I am a Pokemon fan. Each game takes place in a different part of the world, so it's always a different championship. So that's why there's always a new champion.
That's retarded, Dev.
So there is a lore reason as for that being the case.
That's retarded, Dev. How do they select the champion?
They have a tournament every year, but it's usually the same guy until like the hero shows up and shakes the system up a bit.
But wouldn't there, if it's the same tournament, wouldn't the same champion still, be the champion the next year?
It's a different tournament, though, is the point. Like, because every Pokemon game takes place in a different region of the world with its own tournament. So, like, every time we go to like a new game, there's a new champion 'cause it's a new part of the world.
That's retarded, and I reject that. Like
the UK champion was some fruit bowl with like a trench coat or something.
All right. Again, I reject this. It's idiotic. Because they literally don't they call it the World Championship?
Nope.
And they do, you lying little Dev, you fat little shit.
No, they call them region champions.
No, Pokemon World Championship. Google tells me you're wrong.
Okay, so there is in fact a World Championship, and I think Gen 5, but that's why all the previous champions show up to it.
Well, there you go. So there's a world champion. But
hold on a second, let me just look this here.
Since this changes, this indicates that the average Pokemon's trainer career is actually really, really short before they stop being a traveling Pokemon trainer and start settling down in a gym or something. Now, Why would this
Yeah,
be
I think
the
it's
case,
impli-
Dev?
I think it's implied to be something like a professional fighter where they have like 5 years max at the top before they're done because they get too
Well,
old.
they don't even stay for 5 years. They stay for way shorter than that.
Arch, you a big Pokemon fan? Do you play a lot of these games?
Like, Brooke settled down, Misty settled down, Ash switches out companions every few seasons, right?
Actually, Ash is done now.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's because all of his other companions, they start fucking their Pokemon, Dev.
Is that the reason why?
Yeah, that's why they settled down. They started a family with their Pokemon. That's why there's only like a champion one time and then he's gone because he's too busy banging his Pokemon. This explains so much. Like, this is why Ash finally won, because after spending decades being the most autistic, religiously devoted virgin in the entire fucking Pokemon world, he was probably the most experienced trainer on the entire planet at that point. Everybody else was busy having sex either with humans, as Ash is surrounded by women, or their Pokemon. Only Ash has maintained and guarded his chastity from all comers, including Pikachu, presumably.
Okay, Arch, read what I just posted in the live links.
God damn it. Vaporeon is built for sex. I see. Well, let me see here. You gotta help me. Hey guys, did you know that in terms of male, human, and female Pokemon breeding, Vaporeon is the most compatible Pokemon for humans? Not only are they in the field egg group, which is mostly comprised of mammals, Vaporeon are an average of 303 tall and 63.9 pounds. This means they're large enough to be able to handle human dick. And with their impressive base stats for HP and access to acid armor, you can be rough with one. Acid armor. Well, I mean, if you've got a Middle Eastern fetish, I guess. Due to their mostly water-based biology, there is no doubt in my mind that an aroused Vaporeon would be incredibly wet. I don't think that's how it works. So wet that you could easily have sex with one for hours without getting sore. I don't think that's how that works either. They can also learn the moves Attract Baby Doll Eyes, Captivate, Charm, and Tail Whip, along with not having fur to hide nipples. Help me. So it'd be incredibly easy for one to get you in the mood. I don't know about that either. With their abilities water absorb and hydration, they can easily recover from fatigue with enough water. No other Pokemon comes close to this level of compatibility. Also, fun fact, if you pull out enough, you can make Vaporeon turn white. Vaporeon is literally built for human dick. Ungodly defense stat, high HP, pool, plus acid armor means it can take cock all day, all shapes and sizes, and still come back for more. Well, there you go.
Oh, there you go.
I question several of the assumptions this individual made, but at least he sat down and thought about it. But again, this reinforces the point. Ash is probably the single remaining virgin in the entirety of the Pokemon world. And due to his autistic dedication to protecting his PP from the countless females and or Pokemon attempting to take it away from him, he eventually became Pokemon champion. But boy, he sure did have to sacrifice a lot to do so. Anywho, Pokesex aside,
Open that up, Arch.
what are you doing, Dev? Borderline. No, YouTube is mean to these days.
So yeah, this coffee pasta is one of the reasons why there's a shit ton more Vaporeon porn than most of their Pokemon.
I still don't quite see the attraction myself, but oh well. Cloudreed, I am now off. Team Kick Dev. The Canadian can have some good takes. What do you mean Tali's off the calendar? I gave her like $300. Listen. It's a lot of people who want other stuff, okay? There's a lot of dick girl death claws in the universe, okay? Antelope, Dev, were you going to collab with What If All This?
What if Alt Hist?
Okay.
We talked about it. It's just that I ended up getting busy with this election stuff. Maybe I'll start talking to people again after the election.
Yes. Dev is only talking to Arch because he's trying to drag him down.
Arch and EFAP, those are the two places I've basically had time for, especially while I was sick.
No, EFAP's
Maybe
only having on once. EFAP doesn't care about you. EFAP hates you.
Maybe I'll open the door a little bit more after this.
Hashtag not Dev's real friends. Hashtag Dev's
Jesus.
only friend is Arch. No one. Tariffs are how Harley-Davidson survived when the Japanese came to eat their lunch, but they also allowed Harley-Davidsons not to build decent bikes. Yep. See, it is a bit of a double-edged sword. Artificially protecting your industry from foreign competition can lead to your industry growing complacent. Boog, all my donos to Starlight. Check DMs for ponies. No, Boog. I don't think that's a smart thing, Boog. Ech. Sneeze. Zero, not being funny, but that logic ends up like the UK. We don't want to be like the UK, do we? Tonushi, Dev, I disagree with you on many things, but I don't hate you even for the sake of the meme.
Well, I do appreciate it.
Tariffs will increase prices, that it will force corporations to build factories here. That means you're fine with prices increasing for no benefit. Why did you say that, Dev? That was silly.
I didn't.
But he has quotation marks, Dev.
All you need is a braking and one of those flashing red lights.
Oh, that's quotation marks. I trust the quotation marks. Nemroider, add this to best pony. Thank you. Starlight Glimmer deserves and needs your help. Poor Starlight Glimmer. Mercenaries 21. For Ariel, look up the Khazarian Mafia and Hollywood. Local Bird Brain, equal opportunity hate comments for Arch. 40k bad, grim dark bad. Well, luckily for you, 40k is becoming a hope punk, so... Sandoom. Kentucky is 6% sale tax, so move here, Arch. Oh, Kentucky sounds like a dumb name. I don't like it. Silver Commando 78. Dev is a communist for diaper wearers. Not your diaper, our diaper, comrade. Diaper wearers of the world unite. We have nothing to lose but our toilets. And Silver Commando 78 again. Dev singing Pokemon song I wrote for you about black people. Dev, did you sing a Pokemon song about black people?
I don't think so. I might have. Who knows? But I don't think so.
Haunting in Dev's walls spook thickly. Copy-paste incorrect is obviously Ditto. Yeah, if I was going to have sex with a Pokemon, it would be Ditto. Because then at least you could make it into whatever you want. Seems sensible. And Sandu. Sadly, the English voice actor for Misty passed 2 months ago. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh.
Mercenaries 21. Ariel, Ash, and last year's movies is now a canon marriage. Ash and last year's movie is now canon marriage.
No
Did
idea.
he finally get married? Arch and last year's. All right. Well, according to Google, last year's is a Pokemon, so Ash finally got his flower plucked by a Pokemon. Well, such is life. Hopefully Ash's butthole is stretchy, I guess. We wouldn't want him to hurt himself after all. That would be unfortunate. Silver Commando 78. Dev is a Pokemon because he always says Giga Chad. Do you?
Great. That sounds awesome.
Zero Firewater. Another thing, Archley. America doesn't even follow its own rules. We just break them by using white phosphorus. Or let Israel do whatever it wants since they pay us with our own money. Well, yeah, that's an added benefit. That's just good. Mind ashamed. Why trade when you can extort and demand tribute? Correct. Angry Assault Shaker. Arch, why are you talking to one of the bugs instead of opening fire? The Rogan stream was greatly entertaining, hoping T-Money makes it to the office come November. Tali, who is without a doubt best girl. That is true. Tali is best girl. Because frankly, there weren't that many good girls in Mass Effect.
Yeah. I mean, Jack was fun, but it kind of sucks that they got scared by Fox News and took out the lesbian option. Liara is just a little bit boring, frankly. Like, I understand the appeal, blue girl, I get it, but Liara is kind of boring. Tali's great, though.
Yep. Tali and Miranda are the only even mildly acceptable options.
Really? I didn't find Miranda appealing at all.
Miranda is great because she's got enormous fucking trust and daddy issues. A little bit of work and you'll get her to do literally anything. Literally, you just need to become her elusive man and she'll be a loyal little grill. Marked ashamed. We all know about Misty and Starmoo. We do indeed. She even opened up specifically a aquatic Pokemon gym where she swims with the Pokemon.
Hold on. Okay, Botzor's in the chat. Dev likes Jack. I didn't think he could get any worse. Listen, if you don't think that she wouldn't pulverize your cock with a vice grip vagina, you have no idea what you're talking about. Jack is all sorts of fucked up, but the sex would be great, and you know it.
Crazy women are the best women, and I have the scars to prove it. Haunting and Dev's Wall spoke thickly. To clarify, untransformed Ditto. No, must transform the Ditto. Must. Mr. Personality, Arch, it's implied Ash started dating a legendary Pokemon in the end. Well, at least he's, climbing the social ladder, I guess. That's good. Jackson Kai, don't move here because we were invaded and conquered by California, but do get yourself a Colorado-style taxpayer Bill of Rights known as TABO. Look it up. They have to ask us to raise taxes. Oh, that sounds useful. Silly Commander 78, Arch, chat hates Dev because they disagree with him. Dev's fan, best friend and girlfriend hates him because they have to deal with his autistic bullshit all the time. Honest foul, my plan to remove Tali from the calendar is going well. Oh, she's back on it now. You have failed. You are a failure, little Buckymus. You cannot even remove Tali's aura from the calendar. Baron von Stargard. Holy shit, you magnificent bastard. I appreciate the screen time. Thank you so much. Also, more for Vladiana Milze and human representation. We shall put that on there. There we go. Let's see. Is it Tali? Tali is currently number 6 now. She's back on the calendar in a relatively safe position. But I think Chrysalis might be getting pushed off. Oh, no, Chrysalis. Poor Chrysalis. We started with too many ponies. Now, I feared there may not be enough. Silly Commander 78. Dev, the song is Black People Gotta Catch 'Em All. You and me. I know it's my destiny. Black people. You're our best friend. The race we will defend from black people. That's
you didn't even sing it with the song. You didn't even sing it with the song, Arch.
I don't remember the fucking song. Mercenaries 1. Ariel. Mew can transform like Ditto and Cat. Cat Girl. Well, there you go. See, there are many potentially breedable Pokemon. Baron Stargard, the Res-Holzinator. No more good music celebrities. Kamala needs to get endorsed by Chris Brown. Yeah, it might cost her a black eye or two, but she's taken a lot worse than that to get where she is, and being okay with that will get the male black vote for sure. She is getting a little bit desperate on the male black vote. Do you see Obama and Eminem on stage together? Like, that's kind of sad. That is definitely some flagging support in the black community right there. Much same. As for academic studies of Warhammer, I don't mind when it's a ludological sense, but Warhammer Conference has taken the cultural approach. Of course it has. It'll be food. As a fighter at 6 to Nineveh. Also, Dev, remember when the Canadian government, after freezing bank accounts, investigated itself and said they did nothing wrong? I remember when Arch did, and I told you so. I remember that too. I remember when Dev said the Canadian government would look into it and there would be consequences. And then there were no consequences, Dev. Dev, do you remember, Dev?
That is a complete misunderstanding of what I said, and actually what happened as well. The whole Canadian government looked into itself and found nothing wrong. That is such an oversimplification of what happened.
Ooh, that sounds like Cope, Dev.
Nope, oversimplification.
Oversimplification. Listen
Yes.
here, you haven't let into the nuances
Yes.
of why they let themselves off.
You take. Oh no! Listen. I don't agree with what happened at all. With what happened with that, I don't agree with it. But to simply say they investigated themselves and found nothing wrong, that is taking the idea and dumbing it down because you are too stupid to actually know what happened.
Dev, was Trump removed from office? Or Trudeau, more correctly.
Nope, not yet. Anyway.
Did he suffer legal consequences? Was he sued?
Nope.
Did he get a fine?
Nope.
Prison sentence?
Nope.
Official censure?
So hold on. I know where you're going with this,
I'm
but none
going
of this
down the
leads.
list.
But none of this leads to the government investigated itself and found nothing wrong. Like I said, it's more complicated than that.
But what did they do to Trudeau?
Nothing. But he basically tanked his popularity enough that he's losing the next election.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, no. Here's the thing: there should be more of a consequence for that. I agree. I don't like this. I'm completely on board. But to dumb it down to that point, to say that stupid fucking phrase is just stupidity.
I don't know, Dev. It sounds like nothing to me. Where was I? Look up banned Pokemon card, Misty's Tears. Oh boy.
Okay, I've got it, and I can post it to you, but you don't want to pull it up.
Misty's.
No, I posted it in live links, but you don't want to put it on stream.
I see. No, it's a that sexual, but I can see the point they're making here, yes.
She's naked, and she's 10 in that picture.
Well, listen, Dev. If I was going to react to every time Japan gave me an over-sexualized 10-year-old, I would not be watching a lot of anime, okay? To me, all of the girls in Pokemon are the same age, Dev. Anime.
Anime age?
Yep. Nice and simple. Mark Shame, a discussion on why a Ballista Skill 3, 50% accuracy, matches real-world scenarios, okay. Why a Space Marine is only 3 times more than a Guardsman when lore is supposed to be 10 times. Okay subjects, in my honest opinion. Well, that's why in my video game, I'm not going to try to talk about it, we don't have 2 hit rolls, we have 2 wound rolls instead. Because when you're pumping out a fully automatic gun at people, well, you're probably going to be hitting something, but will you be able to hit it well enough to actually damage anything? That's the important one. My tabletop game
Arch,
will be the best one.
It's the end of the dev time. It's time for me to go.
All right, Dev. Go cope about Trudeau somewhere else.
I'll see you later. See you later,
Dev.
chat.
Don Pete XX. Misty has said multiple times that she loves Tentacruel and the sensation of its tentacles. Oh boy. That's... Oh, Devil Leaving has made the thing not do its thing and need more. Maybe. There we go. Did that get read? Misty said multiple times that she loves Tentacruel and the sensation of its tentacles. Good for Misty. Honestly, you know, Misty needs some help. What was it? Let's see. Right. Since chat is objecting to 10-year-old Misty, let's see. Can I find adult Misty in a way that won't get me attacked by YouTube? The swimsuit. No, the swimsuit might be a little bit too risque. Damn, why is there so little adult Misty art? What the hell? She was never best grill, but really, remarkably unpopular. A little bit disappointed, actually. Damn. Well, that's just depressing. Oh well, too bad for Misty, I guess. Mercenaries 21, Ariel, Latias is female, Ash will have kids. That's good for Ash. But will they be Pokemon? Because I feel like that might be cheating a little bit. Dorman, happy Liberty Day, Arch, and Dev, son of Typhon. Dev, son of Typhon. Ender of Pandemonium. Alex Adamson, Dev should talk to the Lotus Eaters guys about how the election was stolen. A bunch of people with multi-political ideological stances and specializations over a single Dev. Human of your choice. But then you'd have to travel to England. Sandoom, at least Dev doesn't like Jacob from Mass Effect. You know, the black guy who cheated and leaves on Shepard after a few months apart. Jacob is the only companion to cheat on Shepard. Deathclaw money. I didn't even remember him until you mentioned him. I didn't like him either. He was terrible. Well, I don't like him. Weird. Have you heard about GURPS? I have, but I hate it. Dreyfie, really have to wonder about the Japanese sometimes. Listen. The Japanese have a very different form of children's entertainment than we do. Okay? They went in a different direction to make it enjoyable for the young and the old at the same time. It's, so nice. Bill Skidnet, 3124. Really, right in front of my humanity. First best girl, Ashley Williams, Mass Effect. No, I don't like Ashley. I don't like Ashley because in Mass Effect 2, she's just a little bitch and you can't convince her to, like you. It's like, hey, Ashley, I'm back from the dead. And she's like, I don't like you anymore. Why are you working with the enemy? Listen, they gave me this cool-ass woman to be my pet, and they resurrected me. They're good in my book. Toby the Drink. Now the commie's gone. Bloodraven lore video soon. Not in the foreseeable future. Not for another 20 weeks. Probably not. And Zeta Firewater. In the Pokemon movie, Latias transformed into a girl who could talk and kissed him. One of the many girls in Ash's harem. I guess he chose Latias in the end. Ninua. I don't know. Does it count as a harem if he hasn't actually done more than briefly and camaraderily touch one of them? Oh. I don't feel like this meets the definition of harem, in my opinion. I feel as if Ash falls short of that otherwise honourable distinction. Sapien Patriot, what do you think the Ironhead Squat Prosperos as a faction in Necromunda? I hate the squats. All the squats are gay. The squats should be removed from the lore, and the squats should be eaten by the Tyranids again. I hate the squats. I hate the squats on every level. I hate their design, which is boring and uninspired. I hate their lore, which is even more boring and uninspired. And I hate the fact that they introduced the little fuckers as a faction. I hate the squats. The squats are terrible. The squats are everything that is wrong with 40k today. They have no style. They have no aesthetic flair. They have no grim darkness to them. They're just dumbass dwarves in space to the point where they even have ancestor computers, which is an interesting idea, but it's too fucking dwarfy. If they were going to do that, they should have at least have gone full parody and made them look like the old squats. They should have given them the personality, instead of just making them like weird miners. Like, I hate the squats, hate the squats, hate the squats. Hate the squats. Jonathan Smith, money for your trip to the USA, Hotch. I'm looking forward to watching you eat barbecue. How do you feel about chowders? What is a chowder? Google. Chowders. No. Soup? Ugh, disgusting. Awful. No. Any food that has liquid in it is not food. Simple as. If it is not solid, or if it is not sauce, it is not edible. Pretty simple, really. Very simple. It's slop, chat. Slop. And we don't appreciate slop around these parts. It's awful. No, soup is bad, chat. Soup is bad. Soup is bad. Unless it's just like pure soup, then it's kind of acceptable. Like if it's just like literal tomato soup, maybe with macaroni, but even that's a little bit, yuck. It's a little bit yucky. I would never eat that for fun. I would never like enjoy eating that. I was like, wow, I'm eating fucking tomato soup. Oh, shoot me. I was about to say shoot Dev. Like, Arch is eating tomato soup. Shoot Dev. Well, I mean, it's better than the alternative, I guess. Bisque? What the fuck is a bisque? Have you not the bisque? Is it No, again, it's just like goopy stuff. Like, no, if you've got to eat solid food, chat. If the food isn't solid, it's not food. It's a drink. And if it's a weird, thick, goopy drink, that's even worse, chat. Sometimes, chat. Sometimes I wonder about you, chat. I really do. You've been raised wrong. Black 917, Hail Arch Christ, the Lord and Savior. What have I missed? Mirala Q Melromark. You missed Dev. Dev missed you. Dev wanted to see you, and I touched you. He does that. I'll add that to Mirella, who now has a second place after Chairman Mao Asakura shot back up the rankings. And Sajad, if the League of Votan weren't dwarves, Blizzard Activision would have sued them for being a blatant IP theft of StarCraft's Terran Marines. Yes, they would have, and they would have won, too. The calendar at the moment, by the way, is Chairman Mao Asakura at the top with 500, Mirelia Q. Melromac at number 2 with 416, Angel from Borderlands 2 at 393, Sexy Factorio Waifu 360, actually she's been overtaken by Dick Girl Deathclaw now, so she's number 5, whereas Dick Girl Deathclaw is number 4. Tali Zora is back on the calendar now at 234 at number 6. Arishwele, number 7, 310. Mitsurugi Meya, number 8 at 304. Red Sonia at 317. And Applejack at the final slot. Actually, no, 2P. 2P of Nier Automata has pushed Applejack off the calendar as well. Applejack and Chrysalis are both off the calendar. That's terrible. We have no more ponies on the calendar. We have no more ponies on the calendar, chat. There are no ponies. What the fuck is wrong with you all? I thought you were good little MLP fans. You've proven yourself lacking, haven't you? John Smith, Arch, you need to start a new channel called Food Critic and write Laura about food. Lol, be great. Oh, if my trip to America gets 1 million views, I'll consider it. And now that you have demonstrated an inability to save the ponies, I guess we'll wrap up the ArchCast for today. Until next week, where we will have the epic battle between cat and dog, Barkimus and Dev, heaven and hell. Which one's the cat and which one's the dog is up to you to decide. Until next time, chat, thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for your generous donations, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good night, chat.